Hey, it's the Bennington Show on a Tuesday. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I am Ron Bennington. Quite the show lined up for you today. This morning, of course, an unmasked has been taking place, so we're moving from one place to the other. But always a fun day to be here at Sirius XM. Lots going on. We'll talk about the GOP convention a little later on. This is the Bennington Show. Lots going on today. Who have ever thought that we would have had this fight going on? Khloe Kardashian is fighting with a young person.
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Now, I don't know what started it, but if you go to Chloe's Twitter account, I guess, she fought back with her and said, "Is this the asshole you're talking about?" Because I guess she called her an asshole. And then she put up this picture that has Chloe mistakenly having her bikini bottoms moving to one side where her asshole and vagina.
Oh my God! Holy shit! Khloe Kardashian. She is fucking hilarious and crazy.
Now, here's the weird thing. Is it Chloe also? Grace?
Yes.
Chloe and Chloe.
All right, so they're both Chloes.
Battle of the Chloes.
She's like a smart girl who's not normally out throwing elbows with the mean girls. She did our show one time. Really, really sweet kid. This was a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
But really was, mature beyond her years or our years as well.
It's really impressive, actually, when she came in.
Yeah, because for Khloe Kardashian, she is like a very brassy, big mama. Like it just seems like it's an unfair fight because I would not see other Khloe as being tough in any way or bitchy.
Well, it all started because Chloe with a C was referring to the Taylor Swift Kanye feud.
That's the biggest thing out there today, right?
Oh God.
And she was like, "Let's all get our heads out of our a-holes." She said a-holes, and let's think of things that matter today.
She didn't say assholes.
No, she said a-holes.
And so then Chloe said, "Is this the asshole you're talking about?" And sends her back a picture of her own asshole.
Of her own asshole.
Well, that's up on the iBang.
An asshole that was on display, accidentally.
Accidentally on display. Now, is the other fight still Taylor Swift and Kanye and I guess Kim Kardashian? Is that still about that stupid song?
Yeah, so now what happened is Kim Kardashian put out a video on Snapchat. She took a video of Kanye on the phone with Taylor Swift. Kanye's approving with Taylor, "Hey, is it cool if I use you in this song?" And I say, "I made that bitch famous. And me and Taylor could still have sex." And she says on the phone, "Yeah, just thanks for calling me. I'm glad you're approving it with me first."
Now, I would agree with you, except for one of those things he didn't specify in the
What's
video,
that?
which is what she's upset about. So he does say in the video, "I think that me and Taylor might still have sex," but he doesn't say, "I made that bitch famous." So when Kim is putting this out, she's, her response, Taylor's response was, "Yeah, but he didn't say he was going to be calling me a bitch in it."
So here's the thing. Kim, you have to understand that if you got a wrestling bit, you got to keep kayfabe. You don't say this person was because it makes both parties look like marketing idiots. And Taylor, stay with the bit. Don't get mad for real.
Right.
Don't let a fucking work turn into a shoot. Just keep up your "I don't like them," but have fun with it.
Yes. Now real feelings are being hurt. And now real assholes are being shown.
A girl's asshole is being put out there by Chloe.
I can't believe that was tweeted out by this fucking picture's ridiculous.
Chloe's insane. Like, of the three of them, they're all nuts, but Chloe is.
Well, if you go to the iBang, apparently there's a picture of her climbing on a guy's back in the water, and as the guy's reaching back, her bathing suit's bottom's being pulled to one side, producing a hole. And it's a very rare thing to even say.
You never see that in these, even in the fappening. There was
in these day and age, you never see a nice asshole.
minimal asshole, and there's a lip slip. I'm gonna throw that out there too.
But you know what?
But that
A
doesn't
lip
fit into
slip.
the joke.
Yeah, and a lip slip is old news.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's all about asshole exposure. That's the new thing. That's
Yeah.
what the kids are into now. Now you've really got them.
In our day, we had MTV, and no one showed off their asshole. No one fought.
In Chris's argument, you don't see a good asshole these days. This is rare.
Well, and also stay with what she didn't say. Is this the lip slip that you mean? You got to focus on asshole. If you see the lip slip, that's just a little bonus that comes your way.
Yeah, that's just an extra bonus.
This is a great bonus.
Yeah, but look directly into the asshole. That's where you should be focused. Gaze deep into the asshole.
I am.
Gaze deep is how he leads his life.
No.
So, our pop world and social media world coming apart today. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, today, who knew that this was going to get this intense?
Yeah, Kim Kardashian looks lit a fire on the entire world.
I would say this blows away the Republican National Convention, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this asshole's taking front page news.
In my day, when we had a convention, Reagan was there, Ronald Reagan.
Did you see his asshole or?
No, a moon man, because we all moonwalk. 80s. Never gonna let you down. Well, this is starting quite a bit. Now, this is another thing up on the iBank today. Is Tig Notaro, who, edgy, she has posted a topless picture of herself with her little babies.
These are her newborn twins. And she just, she shared that photo of her holding her newborn sons.
Now, of course, a lot of people would say, oh, this is beautiful. But then other people, because Tig is topless, they're uncomfortable with it. But
Right.
Tig knows how to walk that line.
She does know how to walk the line, I think. And if what always seems to be the controversy of topless nudity is nipples,
Tig has done away with it.
She has no more nipples, so.
But there's something about a skin-on-skin pic with a baby, right? That it always looks great.
Yeah. Well, that's like so essential. It's like a bonding thing. So it's even very important for adoptive parents to do skin-on-skin contact because a baby's learning, like, this is my parent.
Right.
Like, that's how they're understanding. And it's supposed to be also even like healing, calming.
Right. But, you know, other people are like, okay, if you're going to do that, it's nice, but don't put it on social media. You know?
But isn't that really what social media started as? It only eventually
right.
became a marketing thing. To begin with, it was just like how to connect with friends and share photos and do stuff like that.
When you were a baby, I used to like to do a thing called glove on glove. I put a little glove on you, and then I put a glove on you.
Right.
Shake hands. How are you, miss?
It's very formal.
And you are. But I mean, Chris, does it bother you, or are you cool with it?
It didn't bother me until I realized she didn't have any nipples. I thought that was like a little weird.
Well,
Yeah, but it also is, it happens, and it's, you know, rather than calling it weird,
Right.
some people would call it brave.
she had cancer, so they were removed.
Good point.
In the process. It's not like she was born this way.
By the way, a point that shouldn't even need to be pointed out to anyone. You saying it's a good point is like saying, oh, I'm the only one who didn't get the obviousness of this. Vito, you also put up a video about Mexican teachers.
Yeah, so at this Mexican teachers conference, all hell broke loose when they had to do a leadership election. Mm-hmm. And the teachers just started going nuts and throwing chairs at each other and just brawling out.
Is this the Mexican version of Vice Principals?
My new favorite show.
It could be.
I wonder if the Kardashians are still fighting. I'm just going to go over their Snapchats to see if they're keeping the fight going to Snap. But it looks like she's into her own scene.
But it can always pop up again with them.
What, you mean a fight?
Oh, yeah. Because no one was like recently talking about this Taylor Swift thing a couple months ago when it was like really hot. but then she just releases this video seemingly out of nowhere that she's been apparently holding on to.
I think
that-
they were they were discussing it on the show or something. Somehow it came up again.
I think it's because people are going after Taylor Swift now because Calvin Harris is attacking her. Because she, like, now that people are, like, laying the punches on Taylor Swift, Kim's
Right.
like, now's my fucking time.
Wait, well, hold on. Who's fighting with her? I don't know who Calvin Harris
Calvin
is.
Harris is her ex-boyfriend. They broke up, and then he feels that Taylor Swift has been talking shit about him and flaunting her new boyfriend all about town. So now people are mad at Taylor Swift.
Who's her new boyfriend? John Mayer?
No,
Wish.
Loki. Tom.
Loki from the movies?
Yeah. I forgot his name. Tom
Tom
Middleton?
Loki. Tom Hamilton?
Middleton? No, that's the...
Hiddleston?
Kate Middleton.
Middleton.
She's dating
She's with Kate Middleton? This
Yeah.
is great.
Wow.
This
Royalty.
is she's really moved up. I'm sad for the royal
Hiddleston.
family.
It's Hiddleston.
Hiddleston.
You know who Chloe Grace Moretz is dating?
Who's that?
The Beckham kid.
Brooklyn?
Beckham. I didn't even realize he was that old enough to have a girlfriend like that.
Yeah, I feel like Brooklyn Beckham was just born. How is
Good
that
work,
possible?
Brooklyn Beckham.
Yeah, she's dating a baby. She's doing skin on skin with him right now, or bunghole to bunghole.
Now, is there any Brooklyn Beckham a-hole pics?
All right, I'm getting an update on the expanded asshole pic.
Okay.
Now let's go back to it. All right, Chloe Kate Moretz.
Moretz?
Chloe Grace Moretz.
All right, Chloe Grace Moretz said that. Yes, would you please put both pictures side by side? 'Cause
Come on, that's
instead of
too
trying
much.
to make the bunghole as big as ever. She goes, that is on the set of me on a movie. The other was an unfortunate young lady whose picture was out there. They just happened to be wearing the same top. She is claiming that is not her bunghole.
Really?
This sounds like a cover-up.
Well, it's not a cover-up. You can see the bunghole.
The exact
If
opposite.
it's a cover-up, we wouldn't even be talking about it.
I think, Chloe, the only way to prove is to release a photo of your own asshole.
Prove it, Grace.
Does anyone call her by just her middle name?
Nobody
I do
does.
now.
Grace!
Grace! Teaser! It's an a-hole teaser.
I'm only going to be in town a couple hours. I'll have my secretary tell you, Grace, do I have time before I go to the airport? Seems like I do have time to come out and discuss this with you. Just standing in a phone book
It's the best.
for you. Anyway, you've gotten us away from the bunghole.
Right.
Right.
That is not Chloe's anus. That is Chloe from a movie set, Neighbors 2.
Okay.
But the Neighbors 2 did not take place at an ocean. That's what Chloe is saying.
So she's saying
It's a
but-
lookalike asshole.
it's a very similar look. The hair also looks like her hair. So that's why, yeah, we're seeing her from behind.
And that is not Brooklyn Decker pulling her bunghole open.
Are you sure?
Who would you say, are you sure? Who are you asking that question?
Chloe.
Oh,
Grace, I mean.
Grace.
Teaser. It's
Teaser
a
with the
bunghole.
asshole.
It's a bunghole teaser. Grace.
What did Chloe with a K have to Google to find this picture?
I don't know.
How did she have this at the ready?
Apparently she photoshopped it. And that was a button and not an asshole after all.
But have this been previously released as her asshole?
I've been holding on to this pale white girl's asshole,
All right.
Years
Why you gotta
now.
attack her skin, dude?
and I finally
know.
can
I'm
use it.
pale.
I know. Imagine if you said deep black, everybody would be angry. Why is pale white? Give him the chance to move out of here.
Honestly, I take offense too, Vito. You
Oh, I do too.
swarthy son of a bitch.
I do. Thanks for the pepperoni roll. But other than that, everything else is wrong. He brought a pepperoni roll up from Philly.
That was so nice of you. Thanks so much.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for the tip.
I
and where to
love 4-day-old bread. Yeah, you can finish.
go. Nice.
'Cause you made it right.
You did.
All right, you and Chris Stanley were having a debate about music, Gail.
Yes. So Chris was talking about what was your experience? You were in a restaurant.
I was in a restaurant. There was no music playing in the restaurant, and I felt like off. Where I could only hear tidbits of people's conversation and
Tibbets?
tidbits, not tidbits, tidbits. And
That's your asshole that's been exposed.
That's what he calls it.
Again.
Don't touch my tippets.
My tippets is out.
Again. Chris, put your tippets back in.
no.
Chris! He's teasing.
Chris, your tippets are out.
All right, go ahead, Chris. What the fuck are you
Sorry.
talking?
So I could only hear the tidbits of people's conversation. The sound.
Stop screaming tidbits.
Just forget the tippets.
So you need music in a restaurant, is what you're saying.
I need music in a restaurant.
But here's the thing.
Fucking does not feel like a good experience.
Doesn't 99.9% of restaurants agree with you? I mean, you're bringing up.
This is like my problem with it. I said, you're not bringing up a unique point.
No.
This is exactly what I'm saying, that there are certain establishments that become incredibly awkward without music. I think a bar is one of them. And I know some people do like a quiet like dive bar, but I think music is a little bit necessary.
I've been in totally silent dive bars, and it's
very uncomfortable.
Well, most of them will be quiet until you put on the fucking, then you got to spend the money. But up a couple bucks. Pass me over one of those waters.
And then I also find even weirder, I think, than restaurants is if you go into a place to shop, a clothing store, and to have no music and then just hear people like shuffling through clothes. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but it's very eerie and very uncomfortable.
But let me point this out to you. Is there music in a fast food place? Do you go into a Burger King and hear music? And you bring up stores? You don't go into a bodega and expect to hear music.
They usually have the radio on, I feel.
So you can hear the ball game.
Yeah. Radio on. I think, I think
so
in a McDonald's.
You need noise at all times, is what both of you are saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like being in my apartment and it's silent. I got to put something on.
You don't you never sit in silence in your apartment?
No, I find it to be odd.
You don't like the sounds of silence?
Not at all.
Hello, pale ass, my old friend.
I see your tippets again.
Oh, Jesus. So you're in your house. Music has to be playing 24 hours a day.
Music has to be on.
What do you listen to at home?
I'll just listen to random shit on Spotify, probably.
I need to listen to music. Well, you ought to use SiriusXM since they have an app that's available at all times. Jesus. I need to listen to music while I'm watching TV. That's the only time.
Really distracting.
Yeah.
Can you drive without music?
I can. I just choose not to.
Yeah, but I mean, is it distracting or annoying to you? If, like, let's say your radio was broken.
I will turn. Yeah, I'll turn down the thing when I'm getting directions or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't listen to music and get directions because someone's telling me where to go, and I'm just like, take the load off. And, it's just like, are you hearing what I'm telling you?
Take the load for free.
I'm trying to, but I'm taking the load off right now. Is there any place that you don't want to hear music? That's actually a more important question than where Chris has gone with this.
I have seen people on the train read and listen to music on their headphones, and I find that to be really strange. Like people who read and listen to music, I cannot do. If I'm reading on the train or at home, I'm sitting in silence while I do
I'll
it.
actually be doing this. I can read while I sing. I am reading and singing now.
How can you do that?
I say it here, it comes out there. That was, of course, the great Albert Brooks, who was making a point that he could read and sing. I normally, if I'm going to be reading, like a novel, I do like to have music on.
Really?
Yeah. And I remember when I was reading the trilogy, the Mutiny on the Bounty trilogy, when I was reading about Pitcairn's Island, I had just gotten a new Allman Brothers, so I was listening to the song, one side of it, Dreams, over and over and over. And now when I hear that song, I think of Tahiti, and I think of this, and this has been, decades and decades.
Yeah.
And the second that I'll hear that song, immediately I'll start thinking of Tahiti and Pitcairn's Island, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But it's there to this day.
That you keep that.
It's anchored.
Yeah.
It's anchored.
It's very strange. But for the same reason that you were saying you have to turn it down when you're driving, that's how I feel. about reading. Like reading is like a.
I didn't say turn it down when I'm driving. Turn it down when I'm getting directions.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So I will not pay attention to the directions. Any place that you don't like music, Vito?
I don't like when I'm on the subway and young teenagers will play music off their phone for everybody to hear, and then you're just trying to listen to your own music, and then you got to deal with that.
I would actually disagree with that, and I'm going to say New York, in the age of the boombox, was the most shared New York that we had. So people would walk up with the boombox, and they would put it on, and then suddenly people might start, dancing back and forth in a train or in a park.
I was on the train this morning, and one of the, like the guys who kind of like will do like a little Motown group,
sure,
and they'll sing together on the train as they walk through the train and ask for money. So there's a group that I see most days. They use my same train line, and today there was only 2 of them. And he's like, "You might notice that there's only 2 of us today. Like our buddy passed away, who's normally with us." And we'd like to be able to, like buy him some flowers and give some money to his family. So if you could just, like keep that in mind. And so they did their song like the way they did with only 2 voices. And of course I gave money. I was like heartbroken. And then I was thinking like, if this is a gimmick, it's very good. Like it really worked. And I'm not even mad if it's a lie. Like
they changed your state, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
If you see that guy with another troop, like right now, I started a way to raise money online because Joey Jojo passed away. Now, wow. And it's part of, what's it called? Kickstart? It's
GoFundMe.
Okay, so I got a GoFundMe so we can fly him back to his family. Now, the fact that he's still alive, that's my business. Why don't you sit and enjoy the fact that this never happened, but be part of it. Last night at the convention with the Stop Trump people chanting, I don't think the Democrats are going to get anything that good out of Bernie. I want to see a little entertainment.
Yeah. Like
at all times.
A little bit of, there's got to be a little drama. And light drama, might I add. Not dangerous drama, light drama.
I forgot to tell you this. It's my new things. I'm starting to save the drama for my mama.
Really?
And not my dad. At all.
I just feel like you're dumping a lot of drama on your mama.
Well, she actually can more than handle it. She does very well with it.
Now, I was wondering, who do you think of... There are so many celebrities who are left-leaning or Democrats. Who do you think of the Republicans, of the right-wing celebrities? Like, who is their top billing? Who is their best get? Where they're like, okay, we have this person on our side.
Well, Bruce Willis, but he won't play the political game anymore. They had Arnold Schwarzenegger. I kind of feel like they have Sly, but he won't say it. So action stars like military and sports stars do very well to go right. But a guy that I feel like is totally committed is John Voight.
Yeah.
And John Voight came in to do our show one time. And maybe because he's so political, I thought that we may not get along. Because I don't like people that are too right or too left-leaning. But I probably have more prejudice against... A lot of times right-leaning people just feel like no fun people.
Right. But he's very vocal about it because I remember, I've always known that about John Voight. But I remember when I found that about Bruce Willis, I was just shocked.
Why?
I don't know why. It's just one of those
things.
He's
an action star. But I will say this. John Voight came in and was one of the most charismatic and warm people that I've ever met in my life. And I thought because he fought with his daughter and she doesn't talk to him, and because he would come out and be like, he'll be like, yes, the Muslims and and stuff that you think would be no. He was one of the sweetest, most charismatic, warmest people I've ever met. I was totally swept up within seconds.
Wow. I would have, I would have assumed at the very least he would have been either like cold or kind of intimidating.
I think that he knows that he's a big, intimidating guy. But, Chris, do you remember when he came in?
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. I would have bought whatever he was selling. I would have said yes. I'm gonna go and flip party right now with you.
Whatever you say.
And by the way, I mean, I realize that there's some things, but I don't know whether you can. Most of the time, if you meet people, I think that you get a pretty good feeling for who they are. You know?
Yeah, that's very true. And I think it's especially strong when you had some sort of idea of that person beforehand, because then they're already battling past. Sometimes
I loved him when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then he, some of the right wing stuff. And most of the time with most people, I don't get caught up into it. Like James Woods, who we brought up the other day, he's very right wing. And I love the guy. I think he's one of our greatest actors. I love Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
Bruce Willis is one of my favorite movie stars of all time. But, and by the way, he was political for a while, or maybe he just is with some people. But I remember when he called Mitt Romney Dash Rip Rock, which I thought, that made me fucking laugh my ass off. But then I heard from Kevin Smith that, Bruce wasn't the best person. I was watching Kevin Smith do this thing. But I still feel like I like Bruce without even meeting him yet.
Yeah.
Like I would have to have the Kevin Smith experience.
And even then you probably would, because you heard it already, you'd be like, hey, I know it's not personal. This must be this guy's personality.
Let me tell you, and I love Kevin Smith, but I think Kevin Smith should have been a little more aggressive with him rather than talking about it later. I think that Bruce might have gotten a better sense that this was important to Kevin if Kevin would have fought for it to him. That's me. And that's only hearing from Kevin Smith. As far as I know, Bruce has never once even brought it up. You know what I mean?
I don't remember ever addressing it.
Normally, he'd be like, well, here's a picture of Kevin Smith's asshole. Okay, I got this from the Kardashians.
There.
That is not her asshole. That's not Khloe's asshole.
Khloe claims it's not her asshole.
And who am I to say?
Yeah. You don't know her asshole from
a hole in the ground.
Just the other day, there was a hole in the ground, and you were saying, there's Chloe's asshole. I can't trust you.
I made a mistake, Gail. Okay? I owned up to it. Can we drop it now? How can I move on if you won't let me?
Come on, Gail.
All right, Chris.
What?
I know what you try to do when you start that. It's the Bennington Show on a Tuesday. Come meet us in Montreal. We're going to be there almost a week from today.
It's July 28th and 29th. To go to theinterrobang.com and click on the link Unmasked that's heading to Montreal to get to see how to meet us.
What?
I have no idea what I just said.
You don't have to figure out or say. Just sign up for it.
Just sign up for it.
And you're in. The stuff that you were saying was just insane.
I mean, figure out makes it sound so confusing, but it's not.
Figure out if you'll see us.
And then you can figure out when you see it and see it when you figure it out. Oh, boy.
All right, this, I forgot to bring this up. This is called the Bennington Trifecta, and see if this is true. Someone wrote this about us. Ronnie B. reading a tweet on air. Gail Ann loving the Twitter name. Chris laughing. They call that the Bennington Trifecta.
Nice. I'm glad that person was able to receive it.
But do we do it so much that is known now as the Bennington Trifecta?
I would like for it to be.
Good. Let's let Vito. Vito's a little involved today. What do you want to talk about, Vito, before we go to break? We're going to break in a couple minutes.
Well, we never got to watch that Mexican video.
Okay, so you want to see it?
Yeah, I want to show you guys the chairs flinging and going everywhere.
I felt like I set you up and you did nothing with it. So I moved on to a young girl's asshole.
Can I tell you something that I have just noticed?
What?
That I made a joke as though that Vito was going to have a sip of my coffee. And I found out that, you see how my lipstick is marking the top of the cup. He is phobic about the idea of, he's grossed out by my lipstick being on the top of the cup.
I really don't like it.
Just take a drink out of it.
Just drink it.
You'll break your phobia.
Here's the thing, Vito.
Sip it.
You said to me we're best friends. Then sip from this cup.
No, I don't even.
Drink this,
No.
all of you.
No.
Just take a sip.
Could you
What?
kiss her on the lips?
It has nothing to do with. It's just lipstick on cups really fucking grosses me out. Ever since I was a kid, my mom would leave big ones on cups, and she would. And then she would try
She
to
farted?
Vito, drink from this cup.
hit it out of your hand.
That's like, to me, a little bit insulting.
It's disgusting. I don't like seeing the stain of lipstick
But if
on
you would-
cups, especially glasses.
But if you would kiss a girl with lipstick on, then why would you not kiss of the cup?
Because it's disgusting. I don't want to see your lip imprint.
Get some cup action.
Wow, man. He's really turning
He's-
this
Being a dick,
like
to
he
be totally
doesn't even
honest.
like you now.
No, I love Gail. I just don't like.
Well, you're screaming at her, I don't want to see your lipstick imprint.
Like, even looking at it upsets you?
It bothers me.
Just lick it. Just touch tongue
I'm
to
never
it.
gonna touch it.
You like to see lipstick on a cigarette butt.
I've never really even experienced that
Oh, yeah. Some girls do leave a.
because I don't smoke cigarettes, so I don't really see the. But my whole life, my mom would be like, share my cup with me, and I'd be like, get that out of my face.
What about lipstick marks on the tip of your chode? Does that bother you at all?
Specifically, Joe. That's what he asked.
He's got quite the chode.
First, I don't have a chode. And second,
What's that?
I don't have a chode. And second, that doesn't bother me because I'm not putting my own mouth on it.
Yet. But if you take those yoga lessons I set up
you're
for
still
you.
losing that weight. All right, we're not gonna.
Lipstick on my chode.
That's his name. That's the name of your new album.
Lipstick on my chode.
Yeah. His feelings have really gotten hurt to you today too. I never heard you yell at Gail like that before. I never even heard you yell at Chris.
Because she keeps putting it closer and closer to me. And it's because I told her, like, I thought we were close.
Right.
And me telling her I don't
Just
like
put
something.
your lips up to it so we can go to break.
Just get close.
Just
Just
if
do
you. If
This
you,
is like you say you always wanted to be part of the Jackass crew, right? What if this was your stunt?
Bow, bow, bow.
I'd have to quit the show.
Really? You won't do the Jackass stunt?
Hi, I'm Vito, and this is me drinking a lipstick cup. Bow, bow, bow.
You got to draw lines.
Seriously, you won't do your stunt?
If you had to choose
Do
between
the
this,
stunt.
Do the stunt. Do the
How
stunt.
long?
do the stunt.
Do the stunt. Do the stunt. Do the stunt.
Vito!
There he goes. There he goes.
Touch it.
With what? My mouth?
Yes, just take a drink.
Your mouth.
There he goes. He's lifting it up.
Put it to your mouth.
Come on, let's do it, buddy.
Come on.
Drink it.
Ew.
Why does it gross you out so much? You did it!
You did it, Vito.
You did it! You conquered your fears.
You beat it. You beat that cup.
I feel like the wax on my lips.
So insulting to me. I don't have waxy lips.
All right, since you did that, now Chris gets to touch your meats.
No! Why does it have to be Chris?
Because I was trying to get as gross as possible. Chris touches your meats.
I swear to God.
Now
if you
explain
do
to
it
people
on-
what your meats are.
Okay, so the meats is where your forearm meets your upper arm. So it's the negative space where the elbow is on the other side.
Right.
Is the crook of your arm.
Right.
So
You call them the meats.
it's the meats, as
Because-
in MEETS. It's where they meet.
Okay. And what is your problem with meats?
I don't like to be touched there.
Why not?
Chris?
I don't know why, but like seriously, I'm freaking out because it can drop me to my knees.
Chris, bring your crab hand over
Do not do it hard, and I'm not
What? What do
kidding.
you
Like
mean?
I will take a knee.
and meets the meats.
When he meets the meats.
Should he put his meats on her meats?
Can you tell him not to do the weird
Would you-
crab arms when he does it?
What about
I
me?
would like him to touch me anywhere with that.
Vito wants to have put meats against meats.
No.
Meets the meats.
I want meats on meats.
Come on, meets the meats. Come on. Come on. Hey. Yes.
Can I tell you? Chris came across so abusive.
What?
And that.
Because you took the other side of my arm and forced it
Yeah.
together, pressing your meat
That's
to mine.
that's an HR case
No.
right now, dude. And your own thrill of her discomfort.
Ew.
I had to facilitate the situation.
That was really bad. Of how happy that made you.
And the way he was coming at me with those crab hands, like, oh my God, the one of us. We
Yeah, why
will
did you
touch
do that?
me.
It's fun. It makes it a more fun atmosphere, I feel, in the studio.
It really doesn't.
You are seriously the strangest of the strange. I mean, I've worked in radio, so I've been around weirdos all my whole life. Nobody's stranger.
Thank you.
I think you're welcome. All right. I think we need to take a break here. Vito, you've proven your bravery. Gail, you as well.
Thank you.
Chris,
Yes.
you're being written up as we speak, and you're probably going to have to talk, before you say another word, talk to a lawyer first.
I'm in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
He said a
Because
word.
You did it, right?
Well, I touched the meats. I mean, that's what I did.
That's all you need to say.
Oh, but I thought that was okay, though.
He got
No.
you.
No. You know what? Your
You were
lawyer
told
would say, never say that you touched the meats. You would have been able to say it was a radio bit, the theater of the mind.
Sure.
But you admit it. You went meats to meats.
Yeah, I like forced the meat on meat action.
You did. Why'd you take my elbow and slam my
And
meats
by the
into
way,
your meat?
if you go over the eye bang, you can see him holding open young Corey. What's her name? I never remember.
Grace, it's
Corey
Grace.
Grace.
Chloe Grace.
Chloe Grace.
Yeah, her bunghole. He stretched it open.
Chris,
Yeah.
that was you too.
Yes. Look at the guy. Look at the guy. Is that not Chris Stanley?
Those are your swim trunks.
Yeah, I'm a yellow and brown. I'm a yellow and black guy, you know?
Hey,
Grace
racist.
is a black guy.
You said he's an Asian
Yeah, well.
and African Asian. All right, we got a break. Right back, Bennington.
Let Bennington know how you feel. Call 844-ROCK-GOD on Raw Dog 99, Sirius XM's Comedy Club.
Bennington Show. We're back. We did the Unmasked today with the gang from Don't Think Twice. And hanging out with us is Jesse David Fox. He's the senior editor at vulture.com. I'm going to guess that this film was pretty much right in your wheelhouse. Huh?
It was. It was like exactly what I always want movies to be, which is like kind of comedy starring comedians, but like much sadder than they are normally.
Yes. Gail, that crew, because I know you have done, you did all this kind of stuff in high school.
Yep. I also did some of it in college too, because it's important for writers to do that as well. So
Yeah.
writers and directors and actors kind of benefit from doing improv.
Well, that's what I was talking about. In that film, it's one thing everybody's trying to get on SNL, but then those same people from UCB are directing movies, producing movies, running their own companies. It's crazy how fast that happened.
There's also one guy at UCB who's a big player in Marvel's toy business.
Oh, is that right?
I think his name's Jesse Falcon. All I know is that I believe he was the guy that invented the Hulk hands.
Oh, then I've used his product before.
He's very talented.
And don't fact check me on that, but like that's kind of like the rumors that I know he's a guy that exists. I believe that he's in the toy part of Marvel and that that's the Hulk hands.
That's where at some point nerd has become normal in this country. But the last time that you were here, I remember we were talking about Popstar, which you were crazy about.
Yes.
And that was, I guess, the flop of the summer.
It's hard to say. Well, it's hard because they opened it pretty small for a mainstream comedy. Like I think it was only in 2,000 theaters, which is, Neighbors 2 probably opened up in 4,000 theaters.
Right.
And it's part of how they talk about it, but they seem like they knew they had a cult hit ahead of time. Like they're like, we're not even gonna do the same thing like with MacGruber, but on purpose.
Right.
Where they're like, for whatever reason, this is going to be a thing that in 4 years, everyone's going to be like, why isn't there going to be a Popstar 2?
Yeah.
Like, because you guys didn't see it in the theaters. And it's a thing where everyone I knew loved it. And I've been curious about what was the secret of why it didn't do well. And oddly enough, I actually talked to Judd Apatow, who produced it a little bit yesterday, and he's like, sometimes you just don't know why movies succeed and you don't know why movies fail.
And they seem like they can live like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's always funny to me to see how they can shake off some of these things, just, all right, on to the next.
Well, it was good. And I think even when I spoke to them, they're like, we knew this is a good movie. It's hard to know who it'll appeal to and how to. And I think it was a really hard movie to market because, I think people are fans of Justin Bieber. We're like, well, I don't want to see this movie. It makes fun of Justin Bieber. But you're like, not really. Or people who are not fans of Justin Bieber. It's like, I don't want to see this movie. I'm not a fan of Justin Bieber. And you're like, you're missing out on what is like truly what I think the funniest movie like that exists. But it's so many jokes, and it's not just really just uses that world to be able to do such extreme type of set piece comedy. It wasn't Ghostbusters.
Yes. It just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. But I think in a few years we'll talk about it.
But yeah, Spinal Tap was the same way. Spinal Tap opened up. Nobody saw it. The people who did see it were confused. A lot of bands are going, hey, we're not assholes. And now, if you do any top 10 list, it's in it, and a lot of times number one.
Well, all those kind of cult comedies are the ones that seem to stick around. It's like almost like the big comedy of the moment.
Right.
The big
true.
summer comedies tend to fade away as far as conversation later. But whenever somebody says, what are the best comedies? You're usually talking about something like Spinal Tap, or you're talking about the Christopher Guest movies, or,
right.
Like a lot of times it tends to be the smaller things that did not do as well.
No one gets in these long Ben Stiller, Adam Sandler discussions.
Or like maybe not because it doesn't mean as much, or just it's maybe because it was, I assume that you saw this, or I assume it's almost like you feel like you have to stick up for something in that case. So that kind of keeps it in conversation, keeps people writing about it.
I think also, cult movies like these, one, they're ahead of their time, truly. Like they truly are like a few years before the world is ready to watch them, but also, what was I going to say? They are by nature very specific movies, and that by nature means they are not broad appeal movies. Right. So broad appeal is big box office success. And you can see, there hasn't really been a huge hit this summer comedy wise other than Ghostbusters, but that is not the type of movie that people will ride for years later. I mean, like you can look at it forever. I mean, like Anchorman made like $70 million, but then the second one made even more, and they had to push that movie so hard. The other thing that I've been interested in is movies where there's a big character, a guy that's playing a guy that's doing a voice, that it's, they have emotions, but for most part, it's like, those Austin Powers movies or all those Will Ferrell movies. We haven't had a hit, like a movie that's made over $100 million that is that type of movie in 8 years. Since I think like Borat and those movies, it's just like not a thing that's been relevant. I mean, You see Melissa McCarthy, how every movie she is a huge hit. And then she does these movies where she's doing an accent, she has a wig, and it gets half as many people. And I actually have not figured out why. It just seems like for some reason, less people are interested in big characters as they were.
Well, first of all, I'm stunned because I hadn't even thought about this. So this information is just washed over me like a wave. I don't know what to do with it right now. But Melissa McCarthy, I'm going to give you the key there, and that's Paul Feig.
Yeah.
That when she does a Paul Feig movie, it's genius. And when she doesn't, it's, I'm not sure what was happening there. But the few amount of Blake Edwards type directors that we have that know how to bring the comedy out of people, that's the difficult thing. And also the weird thing is, if you've ever been on a movie set, things can be much funnier there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure the Sandler sets are the funniest. Everybody's just having a ball like it was an old Burt Reynolds movie, but it doesn't always mean that translates.
Yeah. And I was thinking, I don't know if you guys saw Mike and Dave's Need Wedding Dates.
No, I haven't seen it
So I saw that movie and be like, this is a good movie, except for it's a bad movie. Like, structurally, every scene was like, and I bet the script, if you read it, be like, this movie's going to be huge and be hilarious. And then for some reason, it just wasn't that good. I mean, there's specific scenes that I actually loved, but the words they were saying were not the funniest words. And then they had bloopers at the end, which I think every movie should. And you see these things that people are improvising. And my thinking is a lot of movies have a lot of takes, and the funniest takes are not the ones that are getting through. For whatever reason, I think the studio has an opinions about, like, they don't want riskier jokes. And then next thing you know, the movie ultimately is getting watered down or not being the funniest version of it could be for whatever reason. And that movie, it really was. There was bloopers, and everything they were saying in the bloopers were funnier than what was in the movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, why wasn't that? And then I think it's just like maybe studio pressure would be like, oh, that's maybe a little bit too racy, or that's a little bit too, not everyone knows that movie. Like, can't you just make an E.T. reference, or can't you just make like a Jurassic Park reference? Yeah. Which is what they have. They have a huge scene where they visit the set from the first Jurassic Park. And it was like, why is that in a movie?
I think also though that editing process is so crucial, and it's something you never, unless you do it, you don't think about how essential that is for comedy. You know, of course you think about it for action, like cutting from here, but that's the timing of a joke and the structure. Yeah. So it's crazy to watch two different people edit something that's supposed to be comedic, and watch somebody completely nail the timing and another person make the actors look bad. You're thinking, oh man, they're not funny, and you can't figure out what it is.
Yeah, you can do that to anybody, but I think that's why Louis C.K. edits his own movies. Like, he's like, well, what do I have to do to get my stage timing out there? But a lot of times too, they worry that a certain joke can ruin the next 5-10 minutes. And I don't know whether you have to worry about that in any other type of film, you know?
No, and I think it's hard because you only have the one movie. You can't, like, essentially, as Mike was saying, it's like, here it is, and that's what you have to do. And making movies is hard, is like what I always want to write an essay. It's like, it's hard to make a movie. Everyone was talented going into the process. Yeah. And sometimes it works by accident, sometimes it works on purpose. And I think, you're seeing 9 million versions of a scene, and what was funny when you wrote the script is not funny anymore, and now a new thing is funny, but it wasn't actually as funny as the script, and it's hard to stay true to that, and then you screen it a million times, and it is possible that like certain jokes, sometimes really good jokes are so good that they distract from a movie happening, so then you're like, oh, we can't put the best jokes, and then you can probably overthink it, and the next thing you know, it's just like, for something the movie didn't have whatever it is to make it feel exciting or feel funny beyond just like, oh, you laughed. I think you'll see a lot is even people you ask your friends, like if they saw a movie and they'd be like, oh, yeah, I laughed. And that's not necessarily a positive or a negative.
Right.
You're like, for some reason, it doesn't add up to what we think of as when we think of these classic movies. And I think this summer has a lot of movies where I'm like, I laughed at it. Pop Star, I liked Ghostbusters, but I had a lot of friends who were like, I laughed. And you're like, that was what the movie is.
It's a big popcorn summer comedy.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to be arguing about it later at night. It's not made for that purpose for you and your friends to sit around having coffee going, no, you're wrong.
But I feel that the ghosts were actually,
Now, I always think, too, that you want to know who the director is or feel the director while you're watching the movie. And I think that's why Wes Anderson works. He's not in the movie. Yeah. And yet we know it's a Wes Anderson movie the whole time we're watching it. Some of these people are saying, oh, it's time for him to change his style. He's done the same thing. Well, please don't. Please don't let them do to you what they did to Steven Spielberg, where he stops making Steven Spielberg movies.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't say that about most art forms, right? I mean, most people do the opposite with a musician, right?
Yeah,
they get upset when they change their style or the mode in which they, perform. It's a weird thing to say.
I mean,
do something entirely different than this thing that you've been working towards.
People don't tell painters, like, I like minimalist art, and I will see certain artists do the same square. Like, I'll see a room of that square, and you're like, oh, he or she had a reason why that was a square they drew that day, and no one was like, man, that's derivative. People are paying like $9 million for it. But it is something where, people have, I think why movies are good for this, which is essentially Wes Anderson could do the same brain, but then you take a type of movie and you filter through it. So, he can do a caper and it looks like this, or if he does a romantic comedy, it would look like this, and a family drama looks like that, which is why it's exciting and and if you don't become a parody of yourself because you're still committed to the story, I mean, like, I guess like Tim Burton is like the most cautionary tale of like, somewhere along the way, he just like, all right, I'll just put the Tim Burton spin on it. I don't have to care if the movie's good anymore. We'll just have like big eyes and like it'll be gloomy and it'll be what's his face will do the music. And it is interesting. I mean, like the tones of these movies of like, what is a Paul Feig movie? And you're like, oh, you know, it's not as set piecey as most set comedies are. It's a lot of like things happen and then there's scenes where people are just like kind of talking about it. And it's like a lot of patter and which is actually like what I like most. It's like I want movies and TV shows to just be plays, but with like professional comedians in them. Yeah. And that's what this movie, why I like Ghostbusters is like, yeah, there's ghosts, but then afterwards you just got those 4 hilarious people in a room. And I imagine Paul just had shot them each scene for a million hours. They let them riff and they could just stitch it together. And it was fantastic. It's something like I've now gone a few more sets, and I was actually on the set for Crashing, which is Pete Holmes' show that Judd Apatow's directing, or he co-created. And though Judd wasn't directing that episode, it's shot in a Judd style, which means like there's a script, but every take is going to be so different because like no one's supposed to be always on. And then you just, you know, you make sure you get a sad one, you get a really funny one, and then you can essentially mix it together. And that's that works for me, where I think some people wanted to be spookier or didn't like that it was so funny. I can't even remember. You know, I watched Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters came out, I wasn't alive. I always say Ghostbusters 2 was my Ghostbusters. And I was like, yeah, there's funny and it's ghosts, and I had the toys. I don't remember.
Yeah. Specific lines, and certainly I don't remember being afraid in it for any reason. But does it, for being a writer, does it kind of cloud you when you get invited to the set? Because I know that for me, once Feig had me up to see, you know, Ghostbusters on the set, there's no way anyone could have trusted my opinion from that, moment on. I'm like, this is unbelievable. I wasted my life. I should just be on giant movie sets.
It's better than Citizen Kane.
Yes, it is. That's how I felt. Best movie ever.
I don't think I think I'll say that is probably a very exciting set to be on, and I haven't been on that big of a set. A lot of sets are very boring, and the only time I've actually been on a set that big, I was an extra in National Treasure 2.
Sweet.
And it was shot, we showed up at 10 p.m. and we left at 9 a.m., and it was freezing cold. So I think, but when I'm on these TV sets, I think it definitely, what it ultimately does is when you know the intention, you can see the attention into a thing. So, you know, every artist is essentially trying to communicate what's in their head. My girlfriend who went to law school told me there's this idea called the meeting of the minds. Every contract, your dream is you have 100% understanding of the same thing, which is impossible because you're separate people. But when you go to a set, you can be like, you know what they were thinking a little bit more, and that as a result, you are more likely to appreciate that show or that movie. Or a person who goes into a cold be like, I don't know who that guy is. He doesn't seem funny to me. Why does he look like that? Or like, why are these women hunting ghosts? Where's, you know, Dan Aykroyd? Oh, there he is. You know, I think knowing more about stuff definitely can help you appreciate it more. But you try to do your best to be like, well, what is it going to be like for a person who knows nothing about, you know, about all of this, going to think about it. I mean, for the most part, a lot of movies are seen by just people like, I guess a movie's there. Oh, Ghostbusters, you know. I don't think who maybe haven't seen Kristen Wiig or forget that she was the person in Bridesmaids. Right. She hasn't been in a big movie in 6 years. It
doesn't seem to care, right? It seems like she
doesn't care.
Yeah.
I think she's one of those people that the A plus of funny people who being funny is so easy, and they're so incredible at it. She is, you know, like, to me, I always say that she's like the top 3 SNL cast members ever. It's her, Will Ferrell, and Eddie Murphy. And that, like, when they were on the show, it's their show, and they could do everything. You know, they can do big characters, they can do impressions, they can do singing, like, and I think after Bridesmaids and just being on SNL, she's like, yeah, I can be funny. It's really easy. It's not interesting for me to do. So I think I'll be very curious to see what she does after Ghostbusters, because it's going to be renewed interest to see what she's like being funny, because she's so, you know, if she's in one scene in that, like in that Wet Hot American Summer TV show, it's like a hilarious scene. She's in, you know,
right.
You know, she's so good, but she doesn't seem like she's just doing these kind of lighthearted dramedies.
the thing when you were saying about her being the top three, when she left SNL, right, and they gave her this crazy send off with Mick Jagger, I'm like, I've been watching this show forever, and I've never seen anyone get this, waving as Dorothy's leaving in the balloon, goodbye. It was crazy.
I remember when she had first joined the cast, I immediately thought, okay, I like her a lot. I feel like every cast, you kind of pick one cast member who ends up being your favorite, and you kind of pull for them, and you like them best. And that's how I had that with her. And then it was just like weeks later, I was like, oh, well, she's the center of the show. Like instead of her being the underdog that you wanted her to get the best parts.
The show creates like an apprentice system almost, and then I think she started and Amy and Tina were still there. And you're like, all right, well, maybe like kind of when Amy leaves, it'll be like her show. And then it seemed like quickly, especially because Amy, I think by that point was towards the end and she's doing Weekend Update. It was like very quickly, it's like, oh, Kristen is like a very prominent part of this show.
Yeah.
And then when she left, it created what has been actually very nice is that, the women on SNL, Kristen essentially carved out so much space in that show for women because she was in every sketch, because all the writers were like, if we put Kristen in their sketch, we'll get on air. So every sketch was built around her. So then when she left, it just made it really pushed it over the top where there's just room where for different types of women being funny in different ways to be on that show. And like none of them, I think all of them are so funny and so talented, but none of them are Kristen where they can do everything. Like I think Kay McKinnon's hilarious, but I think she's only like, she is part of the Kristen thing, but also she has their own stuff. And you can just see where that vacuum of talent that she left. And I think, if anything, the show's better by having kind of a more ranging to like mix and match cast.
Yeah.
And it, as Mike says, he thinks, the last 10 years of the show, the cast level has been just incredibly high. And
people still bitch about it.
Oh yeah.
Like
that's
it's
part of the
not.
show.
But have you ever been over to see a show shot and then you come home and it's not nearly as exciting as you felt it was in that room? Because that room can be electric.
Yes. Like I have been. You're not allowed to talk about going. So I've been, and it was an interest. It was. You're like, oh, these are the people that go see the show.
Yeah.
And this is the room, and it's so small. And then you go, and but that just always. I think the more you see, and you're like, oh, this is a job for people. And they have to like build all these sets. And when you're in that room, you can see these sets.
10 seconds left and they're still putting the set together. It's an incredible thing just to see that.
Yeah, my favorite was, and I think, again, they make you sure you're not supposed to talk too much about going, but to see these actors that, because they're rushed, the really busy cast members are rushed. They have people that are dragging them, and to see them, they're just talking about blah, 10 seconds the air, and then their face tightens up, and then like now they're Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, right.
Like 3 seconds ago they weren't Hillary Clinton, and then now you used to get so few opportunities to see people change into people like that.
Yeah.
And so that was exciting. We're like, oh, he was Keenan, and now he's Al Sharpton, and he just goes like this, or you can see those impressions. I imagine it'd be really interesting to see what Daryl Hammond's like before he does Trump, because like I've talked to him about doing Trump, and it's like a very fully for him doing an impression is like a person doing a book report. Like he spent years thinking about who this person is, and then there's like, okay, we create physicality, but all comes from like this core idea of who he is. So I wonder if he has that same thing where he turns it on, or if it's like he's Donald Trump for the 5 minutes before he goes on, he's Donald Trump for a few minutes afterwards. Because he like lives those people in the time when he's doing them.
Yeah, and I don't think he's one of those guys that too, like when he was on that show, he was off on his own for the entire time. He wasn't part of the cast. He wasn't pitching. His was aimed at really the opening because he could do all the political guys. I always wonder why Lauren even makes this thing where they force themselves into a box. Like it's got to be the first thing has to be political. Yeah. The guest has to be in way too many sketches. It's crazy.
Well, I think this SNL is an endlessly interesting thing for this reason, which is like because it's never as Seth has talked about, like it's designed that no one likes a full episode. because people are watching it for different reasons. You know, there's most shows don't last 40 years because if people are just watching it because they like it, that's not enough. SNL partly works the way late night shows work, which is, you know, I don't like comedy, but I like Miley Cyrus.
Right.
I don't know. What's it like to see her in makeup and in a wig, or people who just like celebrity were like, oh, I don't really like comedy. I don't follow sketch comedy. I don't know what UCB is. I don't know what IO is, but I know Jennifer Lawrence is a person. I wonder what she'll do in the monologue, or I like this musical guest. I think Lorne lucked. He guessed what a format would be that would work, and then it worked. And he was smart enough to not try to completely change. I mean, like, there's been small things. There's like 10 years where the second song was always at the end. Mm-hmm. It was like from like 1997 to like 2001, or like where like, oh, maybe, you know, the momentum's kind of dead at the end for comedy anyway. But then I think they realized there's something really fun about that to do comedy way at the end of the show. You can do something really weird or something a little bit racier. Yeah, I think it almost like the lowering of expectations because there's a format is like kind of what benefits. Yeah, but always, and it also makes it so they don't really do political stuff as much throughout. But yeah, the cold opens, it is an interesting thing because I guess it partly also it's like it reminds you, it's like the opening monologue in late night, which it reminds you that this is live and it's now, right? It's like if you were watching an episode and it's like, in this week in the news, Gaddafi, whatever, you're like, oh, this is an old episode of SNL.
Yeah, right.
Where if it's like, you know, especially when the episodes where they can do a sketch that talks about something that happened like right then, because they can predict like one of two things will happen, then you're like, this is live, this is now. I think it's especially when you clip up the show and you just watch these sketches in a vacuum, you're like, that political one wasn't as good, and you're like, well, yeah, because it serves a role tonally. Like there's a pace that show kind of gets on, and I think I think it's like the structure of the show is the structure of the show, and it's not all to the service of being funny.
Well, you know, that show, it is like the show that is most like is Monday Night Football. It's just on, and you're going to watch it because it's on. And when people go, cancel the show, and I go, what else is on?
Yeah.
At 12 o'clock at night on a Saturday. I got 190 other channels I don't go to. Yeah. Why cancel this one?
Yeah, and it is interesting that I think everyone does have their specific sections of the show that is their favorite. Because sometimes, you know, you can get really into the cast just because you really like what's going on in Weekend Update. Yeah, like I've had that in the past where I'm like, I thought the cast was okay, but maybe I liked, you know what was happening during that section. I always like the second half when like the sketches just go totally bizarre.
You love that?
And that's like that's like the last two sketches are normally like, so you kind of feel like they gave someone a shot. This was a weird thing, and they put it on at the very end to see if it gets any laughs.
I have this theory too, is that the show is much better when you don't have a funny host. You know what I mean? That for some reason you're so excited for the funny host, and then you're like, oh, why is The Rock's show better than Kevin Hart's was?
I think The Rock is an exceptionally funny person. When I saw him host his first or second time he did a song and dance number, I'm like, he's the king of the world. Like he should be hosting every Oscars.
Yeah. You want to hang out with Vito? He's a wrestling fan. He feels 100% the same way.
But you can tell. I think the reason is because suddenly the writers have pressure on them where you're like, you can't put out a so-so sketch. The writing really has to be there because they have to
they're
work
like,
with
Jim Carrey will pick it up
exactly.
from here.
Yeah. They're like, Melissa McCarthy will come out and be hilarious, so we don't have to worry about it.
Is correct. I mean, like Melissa McCarthy, especially her first two episodes, you're like, man, she should be on television all the time. Yeah. Oh, wait, she is.
Yeah, she is. We don't watch that for some reason.
But I think the people that I think the best, well, you never know, like an Ariana Grande can have a great episode, or like the Josh Hutcherson episode. But, you know, old cast members episodes tend to be really good. I remember my dad, who's been watching it since he was my age. He's like, the Maya Rudolph episode that was like 4 years ago. It's like, that was the best top to bottom episode he's ever seen. But I think the best episodes tend to be funny people who are not performers, you know, like Larry David's episode, or like Lucy, people that are writers, people that they want to impress, like comedy gamemanship, but they're not like, oh, we need something kind of crazy to show that they can do. I think like with Kevin Hart, though he's an incredibly funny person, I think he's actually the most funny person I've ever been in like an audience of. When I went to the Justin Bieber roast, he was the host, and the most incredible thing was that show was so boring when it's not taping. Like essentially it's someone goes and there's like a 20-minute break and the energy's gone. And what Kevin Hart was able to do in 5 seconds, be like, say two things, and the audience was like,
yeah.
But I think with them, they're like, oh, we need to give Kevin Hart all these different things so he can do all this stuff. We're like, Larry David can't do anything. So it's like, let's give him the weirdest stuff. Let's give him stuff that's easy, and let's try to impress him. And you know, when you hear about the good episodes, it's the hosts that are willing to stay the latest, that are open. You know, like Alec Baldwin, like will go and stay up until 5 a.m. and not to criticize, to be like, look, I'm around if you want to hear what those words sound like out of my mouth. And I think people that are bad are people who don't give themselves to the process. I think, you know, Louis C.K. always goes like, if I'm going to be on SNL, I need at least one sketch where I'm wearing a silly outfit, because like I won't be in that situation anywhere else. But that's the show where it's like, you know, for comedy nerds, it's sports. I think I've talked to Mike Birbiglia about it, which is like, I realize what it is. It's like baseball, where it's like I follow minor league baseball religiously. Mm-hmm. I like go to UCB and I know all these people's names, and then you realize for them it's to be at Major League Baseball, which is SNL. Right. And yes, it's a comedy show, and sometimes it can be really, really funny. And whenever I do a list of the best sketches of the year, I'll see so much from SNL, because if you take out parts you don't like, it really can be brilliant. But it also as a institution is an incredibly interesting thing to watch, and that is why they don't change it, because they need to make sure the goal is to make the best SNL possible. They're not like, oh, we are only here to be a perfect sketch show, because if they wanted to, they'd be Key and Peele. Key and Peele already existed. It was perfect, and we're very lucky to have it. It is what it is, and I think I'm happy. You know, I'm happy to watch bad episodes, and I'm happy to watch good episodes.
Yeah, it just, you know what I mean? It's part of life. It's like the weather. It just happens. It's there. You know, Jesse David Fox is sitting with us. He's the senior editor at vulture.com. You can go to vulture.com to read all his work. Now, I brought this up to you earlier when I first saw you. I think what's happened with Comedy Central, that particularly it really stands out this election, that they're not part of it the way they had been in years past. Trevor Noah is a very funny guy, very likable guy, and no one's talking about him. The same as Larry Wilmore. Larry Wilmore was a really funny guy, and no one is talking about him the way they used to with Colbert.
I think it was really clear last night, in particular, because the RNC started, and you know, I work for a place that we post clips of late night. It's not like and on Colbert yesterday, he had Jon Stewart on, and he did the character, and that was like people were very excited to do. And even though Jon Stewart didn't really do anything, it was like but you're excited to have them covering the news, and I think also people are comfortable with how they cover the news. But then not only that, but then Samantha Bee did a whole thing, and that was also very exciting, because I think her point of view feels, as I always say, she's the most vital and most current of the late night hosts. I think her perspective, at least for this election in an era of Trump, is correct. Like her true anger that is not like tempered by any sort of like we're doing fake news. She's like, I'm gonna be angry and like purge these thoughts. That felt vital. And then the Daily Show and Larry Wilmore, it still doesn't feel like, for this part of politics, that they figured out what their take on like kind of the horse race and the malarkey is. I think, with some of the Black Lives Matter stuff, and when there was the shootings, I think they both are really good at that. And I think that's part of like the benefit of having diverse voices. But I do think Trevor's still trapped in, he's in someone else's show. It's still the same writing staff. Yeah. And I think I think anything other than Samantha Bee, which is a true exception, and I think a little bit John Oliver, really Samantha Bee, where it came out of the gate and she had this perspective that no one else had and was new. It takes a long time, and you also have to do that job. It's daily. It's not like if you have a weekly show, you can figure out your voice, you can temper it. But like the same thing I with Seth Meyers. I was like big on Seth Meyers because I knew what he had in him, but it took a while to be like, oh, what does Seth bring? And I think now people have a sense of it. And I think his perspectives and his sharpness is clear. But it took like a year. And Trevor, I think they did a disservice by starting him so close to this election cycle. I think if they had their ideal situation, John would have left slightly earlier and allowed him a year of just kind of like trying different things and figuring it out. And there's something in there. I think he's brilliant. I just don't think the interest I don't think he has the same interest to the kind of horse race of American politics that people who are American have. And I don't think John Oliver has it. But that's why John Oliver's talked about the election once. He did one episode about Donald Trump, and he's like, and then he did. It's not that same thing of like, the feeling of people in this country being like, what is happening right now? Like, and even on both sides, you're like, what is happening? Both sides hate the other person in a certain way. And I think Trevor can't capture that because there's a certain level of like detachment that he has. And because the writers aren't those people. I think over time we'll figure it out, but it seems like this election is not going to be that time. And Larry, I still think the format of that show doesn't make sense. I think a round table where people are just doing pre-prepared jokes.
Yeah, that always drives me crazy too. And he's a very funny man.
Yeah.
He doesn't I also think that he's too formal. I remember the day that he came in here, he was so funny off the cuff, and there seems to be you can't do that what do they call it? After midnight show where everything is just like the old Hollywood squares where I have a killer line, I have a killer line. Just let some of the jokes die, makes the funnier jokes even better,
Well, I think if there's Bill Maher, I have a complicated feelings about, but like I watched that show, I realize I know and like look forward to those clips partly because it goes wrong so often. Some people are not funny, but think they are. Some people are funny and not as smart as they are. And there really is a conflict on that show. And it's because they have true conservatives who go on that show because they know that Bill is willing to let them talk. I remember the thing that I'll always remember, I can't even remember who was on, but a liberal did what was probably like a cheap joke against the conservative. And then Bill's like, it's hard enough to have her go on knowing the entire audience is going to like be yelling at her. And that's the thing that I think, this show that Larry Moore still doesn't have, which is the first part can be really good. It's still desks, monologue jokes, or whatever. But like when people think of like what defines this show, it's that they do a round table, and round tables, when everyone is prepared, it's just like it's a stiff thing.
But I hadn't thought of that. He really does need an Ann Coulter. He needs somebody who comes in here that the audience disagrees with, but they are very comfortable in fighting with the audience.
You should have someone on staff. Like they essentially should have like instead of how sidekicks are supposed to just be pumping up the host, essentially have like actually, I'm surprised there hasn't been a sidekick in the history of late night that actually has an antagonistic relationship. But yeah, I think that would be like actually pretty beneficial where it's just like it gives it a little bit more, the show's these shows are nightly shows. It's hard to make them feel vital every night because, these people have, it's just like a very bizarre format and unless you have something that, brings some vitality to every episode, and you can feel like you're going to keep on getting when you go to it. That makes you seek it out. It's just going to feel like they're going through the motions. And in an election cycle where everyone's so passionate, it feels like such a disconnect.
Well, it is true too with all the network late night shows, and there's what have we got? 6 big shows on the networks now. 5, and you could.
Are you counting Carson Daly?
No. For once in my life, I'm not counting Carson. But I remember what used to happen over here, 3:00 in the afternoon. There'd be 1 million kids.
Yeah.
He was gigantic. But the But those jokes are pretty interchangeable. You could take the monologue jokes off of one, put them in the other show, and it would run the same exact way.
I mean, now I think it's interesting. I love monologue jokes, and I'm like, I have a long tail idea of doing a project on them. I just but they are essentially, there's so few things that we still do in comedy that are like so retrograde. Like monologue jokes and roast jokes are like the only things that are still like, once the punchline happens, you're like, yeah, I could see that coming, but that's the point.
Right.
And I think, Seth is a true monologue joke teller, and I think Conan is kind of that. Fallon, the joke is kind of his reaction to the joke. Colbert, it's a little bit different, and Corden, I don't even think does a monologue. I think like Corden just like says like, "Hey, what's up?"
We're all in a car singing.
Like Corden, I think everyone loves Corden, and think to his credit, he was like, "Oh, I'm not going to be as good as everyone else at these things, so I'm just going to take the Fallon thing and remove any artifice of trying it to be the Tonight Show. Like it's really going to be singing and dancing. We're going to have multiple it's going to be like an English style. Everyone's going to be at the desk at the same time, and it's not going to totally work, but like who cares? These people aren't really promoting anything. And then the singing thing, he is the best singer in late night, and I think that used to be not a proud claim, but like Jimmy's a good singer and Colbert's a little bit better singer but like Corden's a great singer. And I think that moment when he had Adele singing and he could harmonize and Adele made a face and you're like, oh, he truly is a much better singer.
Right, he's a Broadway singer. I mean, he'd already achieved that in his life. It's not a very easy thing to pull off. Jimmy is like the thing that gets to me because I'll turn it on and I'm like, what are they playing? Frisbee pizza? What the hell? You know what I mean? Like, you got Tom Cruise on there and you're smashing eggs on his head. And you're like, is this Carson? Is this the same show Carson used to have?
But people,
they adore him.
Jimmy's, his ratings are double everyone else's rating. And did you see Lorne Michaels was on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee?
No, I didn't see that one.
So Jerry asked him, like, who sees Jimmy Fallon goes, that's a late night host. And he goes, what Jimmy does is, some movies are bad. And people don't, and the person in the movie often knows if they're in a bad movie, but Jimmy could be like, your movie's bad. Like, I think he can prove how smart he is. He can do like a Letterman. I think or it can be like, look, life is hard enough. Let's have fun. And we're all here doing a job. And because there's so much television to do the hard hitting stuff and there's so much minutia of like how much people are out there. Let's have people actually have fun, which is a thing that we actually have not seen celebrities of that stature really do. And celebrities like doing it, which is, considering how annoying it is to do press, the fact that celebrities are happy to do a thing is like of that level that like a Will Smith would be like, yeah, I'm going to come and rap on your show. It's hard. I think it's, and there's something impressive about that. I think Colbert's, the failing of the new Colbert show is not a comedy failing. It's that you have to remember that the late night shows are the opposite of the daytime shows, but they're both shows. They're broadcast television. They're not just pieces of art. They also have to feel comfortable and they have to feel thought through, and it has to feel easy. And I think Colbert's show fails because he has comedy parts that make sense, but they feel disjointed to the tone of the interviews. And Fallon, it's that energy for an hour, and it, and it's and he feels like a ringleader, and it feels in the best way. And that's why that show, he is going to be the king of late night for however he wants to do that, which might be forever.
It's untouchable for a long time.
Yeah.
I think Colbert, what always cracks me up is well, here's the CEO of Uber is coming out. You're like, what?
It's hot right now. It's very hot.
Why? You're not David Susskind. The whole first part of the show was entertainment, and now we're going to sit around and talk about Uber. But Jimmy has that thing that everybody likes him, and he is that nephew who everybody loves, and you think he drinks too much, but you don't say it to anyone in the family. There's a little.
That's a Carson thing. I think that's the thing that he has that we miss, which is Yeah, what is he doing after the show?
Right.
But the thing that
he okay?
the thing that he doesn't have is that, like, I think that because he's so likable and he's so sweet, I don't think there's that thing of like, man, I really want to win the affection of Jimmy Fallon. Like, I think he just gives it, and he's like,
he's a classic, a golden retriever.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But I think part of it is it's not that you want to win the affection, which is like you have people like, I want to be like Jimmy Fallon. You have these like moody movie stars, or even like, like Louis C.K. will go on Fallon, or like Zach Galifianakis, these like, these people that we think of as like, the most discerning and grumpy of like comedy people, and they like having fun too.
Right.
And I think it was Louis be like, oh yeah, I remember I saw you and I didn't like you, and then you're like, oh, this guy's everyone, it's infectious. And I've been to a taping of Fallon, and it really is where it's that energy. And I can't even remember if I've met him, but I feel like I've met him. This is actually really funny. I can't remember if I've met him, but like you can feel like if you did, if it's during commercial breaks, during every late night host, people are like, oh, who's from out of town? Does anyone have a birthday? Whatever. And I think I've went to a taping of each, and it's like, oh, someone's wedding or something, and he'll go into the audience and like lay on their lap, like that energy. You can feel that energy of the audience is something you can feel. Like, I think there's a reason these are filmed in front of audiences, because you can feel that. And I think at that show, it's a late night, which can feel like such a drag. And his version of it's like that energy. I mean, we'll see what he's like as like an old guy.
Right.
But the thing is, like, the fact is he's 40 whatever, and he looks like he's 22.
Yeah, right. Looks like he's not sure what he wants to do with his life. Yeah. But you know what I love, and it's the strangest thing to me, is that he has Fran Lebowitz on. I don't know why, but that one old school connection to like a New York intellectual is the thing that makes you also think, like, I don't know if I know who Jimmy really is. I can't believe that he loves it. And you just see him cracking up. I mean, he
clearly adores her.
Yeah, but he will put people over.
Yeah.
Dude, always great to have you stop in. Let's not wait so long next time. Jesse David Fox, he's the senior editor at vulture.com. Go to vulture.com to read his work. And we'll be right back. Bennington,
Raw Dog Comedy, Sirius XM 99.
Should I do this anyway?
Yeah, we should do it.
Go ahead, Gail.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beverage had the idea of building his own micro distillery, incorporating the boutique winery concept into the spirits industry.
Yeah, that's cool.
He acquired the first legal permit to distill in Texas and put his life savings into it, racking up 19 credit cards to build his own copper pot stills and condensers.
How's his credit now?
Well, he's been awarded a 95 rating by wine enthusiasts, won the unanimous Judges' Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for the world's best vodka tonic, and many others.
That's my man Tito with the fancy bottle and the crazy label.
No way. Tito's has a modest paper label on a simple bottle, so all you're paying for is the exceptional handmade vodka inside.
What's he doing now? What's Tito up to?
Well, he still makes his vodka by hand on
Tito?
the same... Yeah, he does. On the same land where he started it all in Austin, Texas. Tito's Handmade Vodka is distilled 6 times from 100% corn and is naturally gluten-free. Visit us at titosvodka.com for recipes, songs, and more. 40% alcohol by volume, handcrafted to be savored responsibly.
Now, I got to tell you this. Last night, I went to bed after watching the RNC, and I watched most of it. I tried to flip around channel to channel to channel. Just to see how each different channel was putting their own spin on it. But then when we got to Melania, I wanted to go straight to one of the big broadcast channels. I don't want to hear nothing but Melania talk. She came out. I thought she was adorable. The speech was cute. It was a speech from somebody who doesn't give speeches, but I thought it was really, really sweet that she gave it. We were calling her Zsa Zsa Gabor. We're like, oh, it gets over. Everyone's like, Melania did great. Trump comes out. He's hugging her. You did great, honey. They fly back on the plane. They flew back immediately to New York. so they could get some rest. And woke up this morning and everybody had blasted this speech because I guess that she cut and paste some other speeches.
Yes, it was mostly Michelle Obama's speech, and it's pretty much word for word. And it didn't take long for people to figure it out. I mean, you have all the people, all the political pundits, all the people who care most about politics are watching this because this is sports to them.
Right, but I'm going to say this. I'm going to stick up for Melania and say she's not even from America. You know what I mean? She just had a little speech together. She did it. She was adorable.
And I'm sure she had help. I'm sure that
somebody should have caught it then. The help should have caught it.
I'm sure that the person
look, this is how you learn to speak English. You hear somebody say it and then you repeat it.
Right.
And I think that's what she did. She just repeated something that she heard and now everybody's mad.
And just replaced it where she would say Barack, she would say Donald. Donald will make America great again. And then we will get moose and squirrel.
First of all, it's scary how well you can do her. Second of all, I just think that she's adorable.
She's stunning, yeah.
But then there's also a sweet personality. Now, the fact that she, steals a joke here or there, whatever. Yeah, I guess she has to be called out on it, but somebody should have helped her with it. Maybe one of those kids.
Yeah.
I hope one of those kids didn't set her up. Because that's not the real mom. And I would like to see more Barron Trump.
There's not enough Barron.
Yeah.
Barron of Barron.
No, what is he? He's like 6 or 7, like Richie Rich, probably driving around in like a little gold car somewhere.
He's 10.
Wow.
He's 10
He's getting big. What's he look like? Let me see.
Here's Barron. There he is, the family.
Oh my God. He actually looks like Richie Rich.
And Donald Trump. That kid could dress up like Donald Trump for Christmas.
I love Melania because watching her speech, I was like, oh my God, she's actually like a Bond girl. That's what she reminded me.
She is like a sexy Bond girl.
She seemed like at some point that she was going to like reach underneath her dress and take out like a little derringer or something.
No, Mr. Bond, I want you to die.
Donald will unite this country.
We know he will. And there was sometimes like she would just say peoples, and then if it needed a plural, she wouldn't put it in. Fantastic. Just
the
fantastic.
peoples of this country.
Donald is good and nice and sweet.
Yeah, but the back-to-back of Michelle Obama's speech and her speech.
Yeah, I saw it this morning.
It's very uncomfortable.
I went to bed not knowing a thing about it. And I woke up today and all hell had broken loose.
And you can't really blame her. I'm sure that she had a speechwriter for this.
Well, see, that's the problem. Matt Lauer got his skinny ass on the plane last night, right? And he got a little exclusive. And he said, "Are you excited about your speech?" And she's like, "Yes." And he goes, Have you read it?" She goes, "I don't need to write it too much. I wrote it." And then she goes, and he goes, he asked if anyone helped. She goes, "Yeah, they tweaked a little." And I'm like, "Oh shit, too bad." Because look, here's the truth about her. She doesn't want to be first lady. Her husband wants to be president.
No.
A lot of us are in situations to support the people in our lives. She's one of those people. You don't think she'd rather just worry about being a billionaire?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sure it's not what she signed up for.
No, she signed up to be the happy billionaire wife living in New York and Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And now she's like, and I want to help kids, like burn victims, I guess.
The children of this country.
Your children.
Donald loves the little children.
Donald.
She's fantastic, though.
No.
I mean, she's one of those people, like, she's already a set character. Like,
No, she's done.
yeah.
Gather allergic smelling, hey. But I feel like she's being dragged, just like Green Acres. She's being dragged. This would be like a funny comedy. The, kind of kept ex-model billionaire wife now has to take meetings at the White House. She doesn't want to do that shit.
Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue.
Well, it's Fifth Avenue for her. She's Fifth Avenue.
Fifth Ave.
Even a higher apartment than everyone else. But It was amazing. That was the only story this morning. The only story when I woke up this morning. And I was just sitting there going, I don't. First of all, I don't know if any of you guys are too young to remember, but they've done the same thing to the conventions that they've done to New Year's Eve. They took a place where they used to put 50,000 people, and now there's 4,000 people all guarded off in these little lines, you know? It used to just be a mosh pit of people with like crazy hats going crazy. And now it doesn't sound as wild because there's far less people there. Because I guess it's first and foremost about security over everything else. Here's Patrick. Patrick, what's up?
Yeah, I just looking at Reddit. A lot of pro-Donald subreddits are saying that this is Donald Trump 101, straight out of his book, The Art of the Deal. He's got liberal news outlets piling on his Trump, you know. And I don't know about all that, but it seems to be working for him.
All right, so you're saying that he wanted her to be called out on that?
Basically, I haven't read The Art of the Deal, but that's what
there's
a lot of
nothing
people are
about
saying.
make sure your wife steals the speech.
And then bad press. I don't know. What would be the benefit?
I mean, he was
him?
going to get press anyway. This is the GOP convention. He came out. I thought that he was so happy for her last night because let's face it, she's not a public speaker, and she gave a very nice, sweet speech. She looked fantastic. She seemed warm. You know, I remember thinking, hey, if she likes him, you know, maybe there's another side to him that we don't always get to see. But no, I don't think that he set it up that they would bring up a stolen speech. Hey, Joe, what's up?
Yeah, about that speech. Why aren't they questioning her? Isn't that the way you really feel? Who gives a fuck if she took a couple lines? Who really cares? This is going to disappear like everything else. The more important issue we should be talking about is Hillary Clinton is responsible for the death of people in Benghazi. She cannot lead the American military. I'm sorry. More people will fucking die under her. She's a cunt. And when Donald Trump becomes president, he's going to prosecute her one way or the other. She's going to end up in prison. She's not going to becoming the president. Sorry. Everybody that wants Hillary will fuck themselves.
First of all, you make some really astute, valid points. But two, there is no way that he is going to prosecute her and send her to prison. That's not what rich people do to each other.
Nope, they don't. And I think it's very difficult for people to stomach the fact that these two have been friends in the past, and they will be friends after this, no matter what the outcome.
And by the way, that's
the thing that's so difficult for people to understand, because then you realize you really are on the outside and you have no control. These two families are friends.
And the Clintons are also friends with the Bushes. Here's what it's like. If you were a little kid and you went into a Bennigan's restaurant and you saw Hogan having drinks with potato skins with Big Boss Man, it's because they're co-workers, because they're with it and you are not. And that's how these political people are.
And you're being sold something that is not true. Donald Trump, at his core, will make deals. That's his personality. Hillary Clinton is a politician, so she is a deal maker. So it's very ignorant to just think that Trump thinks, oh, I can't wait to be president, and then I'm going to prosecute this cunt. That's not what he's thinking. It's not going to be the reality of the situation.
The reason why that he says things about her now is because he's running for president, the same job as her, and he would be doing that against anyone. And the reason why she's locked in against him is because she wants this job. We're going to sit back and see these two sociopaths, see which one of them becomes president. But is there some kind of black and white, right and wrong? No, doesn't exist. Not in their rarefied air. Here's David, Santa Cruz. Hey, David.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Ronnie V, it seems like it's standard speech. I mean, she can't give foreign policy or anything like that. It's something that somebody cares about somebody. It seemed like that's like a standard go-to speech. Maybe she did plagiarize a little bit of it, but she's not going to get in depth into the politics. She just gave her.
Look,
she
somebody.
Tried. The thing
look,
I liked about her, she tried.
You
She really
cannot.
tried.
First of all, you can't blame a thing on her. If you're blaming anyone, it's who was ever supposed to take care of this. Now, if you look at Donald Trump, the last thing he wants is to embarrass his wife or have anything. He's fucking furious with somebody right now. And somebody deserves it. This is not a difficult speech to write. It's not a difficult speech to make you go out and you're just a nice, pleasant, and that's what she sold perfectly.
Yeah.
That she is a nice, pleasant, stunning woman who is saying Donald Trump is a good man. And I bought that 100%, went to bed thinking, she pulled it off. They're very good for her. I don't think she got up or said, when do I get to make my speech the way she didn't want it.
No.
Now, those kids, they can't wait to get up there
Yeah.
and make speeches.
But, to say that this is just a standard speech, no, it was very lifted, and that's uncomfortable. It's not particularly her fault, but it's very clear that he has people in his corner right now who don't know how to play this game just yet, because that would be a crucial mistake.
Right. But see, here's the thing. Like, we have people here, make sure you bring our guests some water, right? And you can say to yourself, well, that's not a big deal. Yeah, until someone brings them hot water or fucking, tap water or something that's going to piss them off. And then you're like, this is a big deal.
Right.
The same is true of any job. You had a job. You're supposed to look out for Trump's wife, give her a speech that was not going to make what people should be talking about is her personality and how she came off and her poise. She did all that.
Yes.
The meat of that speech didn't matter. There was never going to be some speech that would make us cry or think about citizenship. She was just supposed to go, I'm a nice person. Hey, if a nice person like me likes Donald Trump, maybe you should. That's it.
They wanted to get her through the night. They did not want to make waves in any way.
You know what I said? Why didn't they end with her?
I know, because they didn't have the confidence. It was very clear that they were nervous. She's not been in this position before. They were nervous about having her do it. She did a very good job considering, I thought she pulled it off very well. It just was not clear to us that it was plagiarized, that all that stuff came out afterwards. But
I could have switched those lines around myself so they wouldn't have appeared plaplagiarized.
A high school student could do that.
Okay, now you're saying I'm not high school
But
student.
I'm just saying.
I know, but I tried to say I could do something. Who woke him up after all this time?
Yeah, it's good to see you awake.
Here I am.
Oh, shit. Hey, Eric, Kentucky.
Hey, is there any chance in anyone's mind that this could be a little inside job from someone claiming to be a Trump speechwriter, but is...
Can I tell you something?
It's intentional.
That would be great. That would actually make more sense than someone was too lazy and dumb to go over the other speeches. There's not a ton of speeches that have been given by first ladies.
And it's absolutely true. You don't want her to say anything controversial. You don't want her talking about foreign policy. Of course you want her to say all the fluffy, nice stuff.
Sure.
And just get her through, because really what was meant to shine through was her personality.
Right. If she started to say, look, we plan on making some giant changes in the Middle East and in our own military, I don't think you're going to see the same generals. Everybody's like, what is she, running things? You know what I mean? That was not his speech. You don't want to see a heavy speech there. Now, if you're telling me that maybe this was an inside job.
Interesting.
The plumbers of the Nixon era. That would make more sense than these people were so lazy and dumb and bad at their job that they did not protect the future first lady. You can't make mistakes like that. It's dumb. And there's not a man out there who wants to see his spouse under attack.
Yeah, of course not.
For something that has to do with his job. You know what I mean? That's even worse.
Yeah.
If she goes out and does something, like, oh, I want to do a job like this, and you're like, hey, she picked that life, that's up to her.
Yeah.
But when you feel responsible for her coming up on Good Morning America.
And her speechwriter's name is not going to be dragged through the mud or whatever, whoever was in charge of overseeing what she was going to be doing up there. It's her. It's a very uncomfortable thing for her. And now, something that she probably practiced and tried very hard not to bomb.
All right, this is Randy's sent this in. Be realistic in this discussion. Trump's response to lack of experience is he hires all the best people. This is all on Trump. Well, he does say that, and I kind of come back and get you. But in this case, he didn't pull it off. This thing is so small, I can't exactly read it. Does this say Kiri on line 1? Kiri, is that it, Vito? I'll just try it. Kiri, you're on line 1. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Cool.
Good. I'm on the air right now?
You sure are, buddy.
Okay, cool. I hope everybody's doing well. My thing is, I've been wanting to mention this to Ronnie for about 6 months or even a year now. And I've talked to friends about this. Him and I are about the same age. And people have been hollering for I don't know how many years for change in Washington, D.C. instead of the usual politics, right? Mm-hmm. And then along comes Trump, and he is change, whether you like him or not. It's change. I mean, and people don't like it because it's not their change. Change is hard. Change isn't like something really simple overnight, easy thing. It's hard. And people don't like it. And even if he screws up as president, which he just might, that'll start the change. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I couldn't agree more. And when this first came up, I thought that was the most exciting thing. And I've said this, I go, the best thing that Donald Trump could do if elected is just point out the ways that we can't make change. Just like saying, hey, you elected me to, cut taxes, but here's why I can't. You know what I mean? No president says and does that.
And people are so afraid of it. They're so afraid of Donald Trump, but they want to change.
But this is the thing. When he brought Pence in as his VP, it almost to unite the party. I'm like, oh man, now he seems like everybody else. I really thought he was going to go in a different direction, but I do agree with you. Change is the most interesting thing that could happen with Donald Trump, and you're also right too. It could be the change that we don't like, and people are going to be voting on that. Believe it or not, and I know the Republicans would disagree, but Hillary Clinton is the most conservative person running for president right now. She is like a Bush, even though they tell you you're not. Those two people are peas in a pod.
They're very,
you will get businesses as usual. The only interesting thing I think that Hillary Clinton brings to this is the whole glass ceiling. Hey, first woman, you know what I mean? And, that worked a lot for Barack Obama being first black elected to the office. So that kind of thing is going to make certain people feel like, oh, this is totally different. But other than that, it's going to be fucking Bachman Turner overdrive, taking care of business the whole way. Here's Steve in New York.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, man.
I just find it interesting. The Republicans are willing to, fault Obama for everything that happens in this country. Dallas police get shot, it's Obama's fault. The Black Lives Matter movement gets a little bit out of control, it's Obama's fault. So if everything stops with Obama, Trump can't even handle the convention. He can't even stop his speechwriters from plagiarizing, and he sends his wife, up there with words that have already been spoken. I mean, if he can't even handle that, how's he supposed to run the country?
Well, first of all, I'm not, this is only the first night. The first night, other than I think Chachi was, perfect and dead on. I was a little disappointed he didn't bring up Charles in charge.
Me too. And
that little blonde girl that he was supposed to be in charge of, and then later went on to go, was basically softcore porn. What's the shit, Nicole Egg?
That's Nicole Eggert?
Eggert, yeah. I almost called her Egbert. But I mean, you're supposed to be in charge of her, Charles. his wife was fighting with everybody the other day. I forget who it was, like Jezebel. She called him a bunch of lesbians. And
Yeah.
shit. Like, it was fucking great.
She's like, she called the writers at Jezebel lesbian shit asses.
Well, I'm not saying that she's wrong about that. I'm just saying she probably shouldn't have said it the night before he was going to go up and do this. I wish he would have said stuff like, you know, it's Fonzie used to tell me when I was a kid. Hey.
What did you think of Giuliani?
I don't know. I've been seeing Giuliani for so many years. There's no difference for me.
He's very revved up.
Yeah, but Giuliani, it's I don't, everyone's acting like, a lot of the old guard isn't showing up. I'm like, good. I want to see some new guards, I want to see some new Jack people coming in here. I like to see Ice-T on stage fucking telling how he's going to do stuff.
Ben Carson's talking tonight. That should be great.
That I'm looking forward
I hope he
to.
brings up about fucking stabbing people. That was one of my favorite speeches I ever heard. Ben Carson was like this, and I had a buck knife with me. And I'm like, I'm going to cut that motherfucker's throat right here in the street.
What did he say?
And I jab him. I stab. I didn't try to slice him like the kids do now. I was pushing in and turning my knife, but it went into his belt buckle. You're just like, this is the shit we're supposed to find out about you. You don't come walking in saying this shit.
And instead, he found himself trying to prove that he was actually violent. No, I am.
Hadrack Johnny.
Bennington's calling in for my daily report on what the convention was like yesterday.
Oh, you're going to be, you're calling from Cleveland. I forgot that.
It was great. I don't know if you heard, but there was some plagiarism that happened.
Yeah, I did. I've picked up on some of this.
I don't know if anyone's reporting that. If anywhere you could go, if you can't look anywhere in the fucking world right now to see it. Jesus Christ.
Unbelievable. Shit, that became the only story I'm looking up now. Sources say that Trump is furious.
Yeah,
I bet he fucking is.
No kidding, really. I could have reported that myself.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little mad today because I didn't like the way the chairs were situated when I did it unmasked. I can't imagine if I woke up the way Trump did.
I watched the beginning, which was just a shit show, where they were trying to do the roll call state by state, and all of a sudden, like, the guy in charge, I don't know, the chairman, I guess, at that point, walked off the podium. He's like, I can't take this anymore, and just walked off.
I get that way at work too, though.
But I think the highlight for me was watching poor Chris Christie get interviewed. I don't know if you caught any of that.
I didn't see that.
The girl from CNN interviewed him, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm not upset. I'm a kid from New Jersey who's going to be sitting in the front row at the convention. Of course, I'm not upset." Yeah, you're not upset, not at all, not one bit.
All right, this is what I got from the guy that I was talking to all through the speeches last night. Here's the conspiracy theory that's out there, that she was set up by a Trump kid or a campaign manager, Paul Manafort, because Melania was very much against the Pence pick, who all they wanted. Now, they said that Melania was against it for the same reason I was. Like, don't you take over. You make something new. And apparently the children really wanted him to make the safe choice there. But I've never seen anybody, who brings his kids in as much. This is a really interesting story.
Yeah, and it's very different than most politicians when they pull their family in and they're like, because it's like, look this is my family. We're just a normal family.
Right.
His is like, this is my business. Like, this is my team.
This is my brain trust.
Yeah.
Most people, when they call their family and they're like this, we're going to go out there and don't fuck anything up or you're not getting that fucking Camaro you want so bad. Look at me. I don't want to see you smoking. I don't want to hear you fucking cussing.
I'm curious to see how the youngest daughter that no one really sees, is it Tiffany, I think it is, how she speaks tonight.
I think she's going to kill it because those Trump kids kill it. This should have been a clean sweep with Melania. I feel bad because Those Trump kids, they know how to pull off a speech.
I know.
Melania, can you imagine if you had to go make a speech in a different language than the one you grew up with?
That's insane. And that you're not a politician. This is not the life that you chose. I can't imagine the stress and the pressure that she must have felt.
But that Paul Manafort, who's his campaign guy, he reminds me of a Vegas croupier anyway. He's like, you know what? He's on today. He's throwing Melania on the bus. He goes, hey, she made a mistake. Things happen like that. What are you going to do? At least she didn't kill somebody in Benghazi. Right? Right? Listen, I'm sorry it happened. I'm going to get you some drink tickets. All right? You like shows? Penn and Teller are in town.
Love them.
I'm going to get you a third row right on the aisle. All right? You want to be in the show, just raise your hand. They'll put you up there, catch a bullet in your teeth. Listen, I got to go. Someone took a shit in the hallway upstairs. Everything about him, it's just, he seems like, Vito, you're not going to see Vito no more. You know what? You want to reach Vito, you better get a letter to a groundhog, because he's going to have to crawl on the ground to bring it to him. You know what I'm saying?
Think so.
Just stays here. What I'm doing is a metaphor that he got whacked, killed, sliced up into little pieces. Now Melania made a mistake. What are you going to do about it? It happens. Fucking Trump was to tear his eyeball out today. But if you found out that one of those Trump kids, if the conspiracy is true, that they just came over, put that paper, with those lines in between the other ones, like a soap opera.
I think it's funny whenever there is a story that ends up taking the attention and any other fuck up or any other uncomfortability.
Everything's gone.
Nothing else matters. Nobody's even talking about the way the place emptied out because they timed it so poorly, where they had Trump and Melania leave, and then everyone's like, it's over, and then there was still more speeches to go, and it was like, it looked like it was a dozen people in the audience for the last
Melania should have just dropped the fucking mic she crushed so hard. She should have just dropped it. She looks at fucking General Flynn.
And then
fire, follow fire, bitch. It's all fuck. That's Melania country out there.
And then I think Giuliani must have been happy that less attention was going on this. I saw that Kathleen Madigan had retweeted somebody and put this video up where Giuliani says like from the top to the bottom, but he gets them mixed up. So he goes top and his hands down low to the bottom. And I was like, oh, this is great. Everyone's going to be talking about this.
Who, America's mayor?
He could have taken a shit on the stage and no one would have talked about it. Nothing could have topped what poor Melania did.
I know, it's unbelievable. All right, thanks, Johnny.
Later.
Best of luck there. Keep your head low there in Cleveland. Are you trying to find that thing? All right, let me say it.
From the top to the bottom. From the top to the bottom.
All right, that's fucking great.
From the top to the bottom.
This is Giuliani. We're gonna get rid of some of these street artists out there trying to walk around with their paintings. Now garbage will be picked up, and exactly if you live in the Upper East Side, that's 62 to 72, no parking today. You will be towed. That was always his way of being the governor. The mayor. There was no philosophy. You know what I mean? Just real facts.
He's got the facts. He's got the rules.
Yeah. I don't want to see a boombox there. You see a boombox is going to be taken away from you. I'm running on the no boombox. I watched the TV show that you brought up yesterday, the Netflix. Strange Days. Strange Days are coming.
What did you think?
First episode? Terrifying.
So scary.
Yeah.
I watched 2 more episodes, so now I'm 3 in. It's so good.
I'll be number 2 today. And then I still have to see that Richard Price show. I don't know what I think it happened last night, or now it's going to happen, or Don't Be a Pakistani on the Upper West Side. That was scary as shit. I don't normally like to feel nervous about stuff.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something.
Those are 2 nerve-wracking shows.
That government project thing, there's something bad going on there.
Yeah, you got like a little feeling about that, right?
Yeah, I do. I feel bad that those kids got caught up in it, you know? Whatever that fucking scary thing that comes around and gets kids.
And I had seen one episode and was like, oh, it's kind of Spielberg-y, it's kind of Stephen King, and then didn't realize, as it goes on, there's, big references to, Poltergeist, Stephen King novels.
John Carpenter stuff.
Yeah,
So this is an homage to that whole
yeah, so
period.
there's, very clear homages. It's not just, something subtle that I picked up. Yeah, it's kind of Spielberg-y.
I want it to be not only Spielberg-y, but Bill Berge,
Oh, yeah.
the great middle linebacker for the Eagles, who ended up living in Upper Chichester. Here's Victor. Victor, what's up? Did we lose you, buddy?
That Will?
Oh, my God.
Oh, no, Will.
That was the saddest part to me.
It's fucked up.
Let's go to Lewis in NYC. What's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? Before I say what I have to say, didn't Gail call it? Didn't she say that that Trump's wife was going to be the main focus?
She did.
I did
We
say
would
that,
listen to her.
but I was unsure for what reason. I just knew that whatever it was going to be, her speech was going to be the most important thing.
Radio psychic. That's
I am.
Radio psychic.
But no, I just wanted to say nobody's pointing out that Trump getting a hold of the country's intelligence just scares the hell out of me. This guy is freaking insane. I don't see how they can trust him with any type of country secrets. I know that while they're running for president, they get a little bit of information like intel, but I can't picture this guy getting that intelligence report.
That would actually make me happier if he walked up there and go like this. I just found out that these Area 51 people were not wrong. There's all kinds of fucking alien life out there. I know it.
He's too honest.
You just see them just trying to put fucking gas on. And that's what makes me nervous, because I certainly don't want Pence. I'd be happier with Trump than Pence. And people are like, well, who cares? And you're like, well, Trump is, he's reckless and he's not young.
Yeah.
I don't want to end up with Pence. That fucking gray G.I. Joe haircut that he has.
He looks weird.
Pence makes me uncomfortable.
Pence makes no sense.
And he has that weird daughter.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
The daughter that doesn't show up in reflections.
Okay. I didn't know where you were going with that. I thought you had some new information.
Oh, no.
I believed in you once again, just like I believed in you today when you were out there kicking it with Mizdow.
Thank you. Thank you, Periscope.
Did you see the Periscope this morning?
I didn't get to see it. People have been sending me little clips and photos of it, but I didn't get a chance to see your training session. So you did some actual kicking.
Yeah, I did some actual kicking, yeah. The hip is burned a little bit, but that's to be expected.
The only thing, I just because I didn't see it, I just saw photos of it.
Oh, yeah.
Just interested, is it common for people to practice kicking in skate shoes? Or
These are Air Force Ones, first of all, Nikes. And I'm not going to put cleats on concrete. I don't have access to a field.
Are these even trainers? I feel
They're
like
fine. People wear Air Force Ones for all sorts of
it
activities.
doesn't seem that athletic. It seems more like a skate shoe to me.
It is. It's a fine Nike brand. That's all I have to worry about. It's a no skate shoe.
Just want to make sure that you've got the proper
Giants will
gear.
provide all the gear I need.
Okay.
On the 28th. I have no worries.
And I'd like for you to get some new shorts too. Ones
I
that
have to
are
get
the
some
right
Under
length.
Armour or something. I don't know. I have to find some workout gear.
Those things, you might even be sued for calling them shorts because they're as long as most people's pants.
They're very comfortable.
Those aren't shorts; those are longs.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him since Comedy 101. He said Melania Trump included a Rickroll in the middle of her speech.
I don't
know.
think I would remember that.
She says, Donald
Never
will
gonna give you up.
She said, Donald Trump will never, he will never give up, and he will never let you down.
Oh, that's nice.
But will he desert us?
That should be his campaign song.
I wonder if Hosp is going to try stand up like the last time I talked to him. He said he was definitely going to, and then I never heard from him again about it.
That's unlike Hosp.
I hope it.
Did you say that's unlike him?
That's unlike him.
You don't know him very well.
I didn't realize you guys are so close.
We're tight. We have each other's email addresses.
Chris is close with no one.
Well, my trainer, I'm very close with.
Who's that? Ms. Dow?
That's Ms. Dow.
That was the funniest shit ever. Ms. Dow was worried about this. He says this is the scariest. I don't know if this went up yet, but Undertaker picture you ever see. And it's just Undertaker being a regular dude.
Oh my God. But that's him in like golf attire?
Yeah, it really freaked me out seeing Mark just dressed like that. In a bright polo, just ready to hit the holes.
Why can't the guy live a life? He doesn't have to be 24-hour Undertaker.
He's the dead man. He can't be playing golf. He's got to be in a casket somewhere.
Yeah.
He's off.
Great.
He's off brand there.
Those are pretty long shorts, too.
They're not nearly as long as your shorts. I can see the bend of his knee.
He should at least be wearing a biker outfit. A black polo.
I didn't like when he was the American Badass. I thought that was a mistake to step down. Hey, Rob, what's up, buddy?
Oh man, just loving life in Alabama. What about you, Ron?
Well, I'm gonna love life in Alabama too. I'm gonna head on down and live with you. Turn it up.
Well, come on down, man. Actually, I'll bounce back and forth between Alabama and Georgia. I got to touch on one thing from like a week ago, and then we'll get on to Mr. Trump. Then you were talking about the breakfast sponge. Do you remember that?
Spongy Boy, yeah.
Man, it's called a biscuit. We've been doing that down here for like 200 years.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
there
biscuit.
are no new ideas, man. No new ideas. But you touched on something with Trump a while ago, and I got distracted. I can't remember. I'm at work. But there's a big conspiracy theory that he never intended to get elected. That he just ramrodded his way through the Republicans so Hillary would get in. What do you think?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's much an ego.
I waited for a year and a half for him to get tired like a rich guy and go back to enjoying his life. And this guy has shown so much energy. I mean, and when you look at the ups and downs of what his career has been since he decided to run, you couldn't put any more into it. You could disagree with the things that he says, but every day he gets up and, he jumps into the dog pile and he goes at it. I think he really wants to be president of the United States. And I never believed that for years. I'm like, he gets free press out of saying he wants to be president. Every day he's been out on the campaign. He's had horrible days. Got back up, made a victory. Embarrassing defeat, got back up, made a victory. He's battled it out. I think he's going all the way to November.
Yeah, there was a time where it did seem like this was all just some big publicity stunt, but this would be way too much work and way too much effort to pull something like that off. I mean, what would even be in it for him at this point? How much he's given up and the length of time he's been on the campaign trail.
Hey Rob, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I want to talk about the movie poster from yesterday you guys were talking about.
Oh, the one that the Connecticut TV station said that Chris... Yeah.
That's the one, because you guys were giving all those sweet, juicy accolades to Joe Reed when it was me who did the poster.
No, I think we were saying that Joe was the one who found it.
No, I was told both. I heard that he made it and then found it. So, Rob, you saying it's you, buddy?
Yeah, it was me. I made it, and I tweeted it to you guys November 5th, 2015.
All right, you know what? I can only say this as a way of apology. First of all, congratulations. Hysterical. I think you can go up to see it on the iBank that Chris was involved in the Ghostbusters poster. For anyone who thinks he wasn't going to have anything to do with that movie, this wasn't some stupid giant scam. This was the real deal.
Giants is no scam.
No, the Giants aren't a scam.
My dream is not.
Chris is a star.
9 days.
I'm not going to say anything about it.
9 days.
We're going to send you into the pretty good prize closet. And give you something
It's a pretty good prize. It's a pretty good prize closet. We have good prizes. It's a pretty good prize. It's a pretty good prize closet. We're pretty good prizes. Hey man, so to make up for that, I'm going to give you Hamlet, signed by Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, wow.
What?
Kenneth Branagh.
That's the thing that I wanted all this time.
That's huge.
Now, Rob from Canada has already hung up. So, Rob, call us back. I don't want Joe Reed coming up here and taking your prize away. But do you realize how good that prize is, right?
Yeah, I felt bad about the mix-up, so I want to give him something juicy.
Because I myself am a Shakespearean actor, and I understand how good he is at this. And then after he did that film, he went on with Thor. So, leads places. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll come back, wrap up the show. Chris, I want to hear who's speaking tonight, what's happening, what's going on, who's got the diamonds, where the car's at. I don't know anything right now. Right back, Bennington.
Let Bennington know how you feel. Call 844-ROCK-GOD on Raw Dog 99, Sirius XM's Comedy Club.
Bennington Show on what Science now tells us is a Tuesday. Chris, who's speaking tonight?
Dana White, president of UFC. This is tonight's Make America Work Again.
Okay, so we're going to get a bunch of UFC jobs?
Hopefully. They just sold the company. And then the governor of Arkansas. Then someone named Andy Wist, who is just a businessman. That's what he's listed as. He'll be speaking.
He invented the whisk broom.
Oh, perfect.
Guy's fucking genius.
Ron Johnson, senator for Wisconsin. Chris Cox from the NRA. Natalie Gulbis. Cox. Natalie Gulbis, who is a professional golfer. Mitch McConnell.
We can't all be golfers.
Yeah.
You could be anything. A golfer, a caddy.
You been UFC? Make a whisk broom. We're like, we need 8 people anyway in shipping right now.
Mitch McConnell from Kentucky. Paul Ryan, he's going to be there. Chris Christie. Tiffany Trump. Donald Trump Jr. Ben Carson, and actor Kimberlyn Brown.
I don't know who Kimberlyn Brown is.
They're from The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful.
But you act like they're going to be headlining.
Yeah, who's
That's
the hell?
That's the order. That's the order that the GOP has. That they have on the.
I don't want anything but Trumps. I don't want to hear anybody else.
Yeah.
I've heard Paul Ryan talk before.
You're getting 2 Trumps and a Carson. I think those are your real headliners.
I've seen Carson. I've got it.
But it's still fun to see what he's going to say this time. And Christie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Christie and
Hope
the
he
double
brings
Trump.
up the storm.
God, I hope he does. He's stronger than the storm is the thing, though.
He's longer than the storm, that's for sure. He should have had it as wronger than the storm. No, I like Christie. I would have picked him as my VP.
I think that would have been the way to go.
No one listens to me. No one listens to me and Melania. They're all listening to those Trump kids.
Is that who Melania wanted to?
One of the Trump kids is doing a thing called Convincing My Dad. How I get stuff. Like I got a new car. I got pants. I got Air Jordans.
That's pretty good.
Who's helping us out today?
It's Brooke. Brooke's helping us out.
Why is Brooke in that room when Brooke should be in this room? Let's bring Brooke in. Did you see Brooke today, how tan she is?
She is so tan.
Come on over, Brooke. We haven't seen her in forever.
She's been working
I got to
on
do
this
stuff
tan.
after the show today, Chris?
Yes, there's one thing.
Count me out.
So, just one thing you have to do.
Well, why don't you do it instead? Brooke, nice to see you.
Hi, Brooke.
Nice to see your heels. Brooke, you can't run in heels, can you?
What? Yes, I can.
I just saw you.
Well-
You look like you're on hot coals.
I was doing like a joke run.
Oh!
Got
She's
it.
here with her visual jokes for radio. Who have you been working with lately, Brooke?
Well, everybody's on vacation for the summer, so I've been all over the place still.
Wait, Chris, why aren't I on vacation for the summer if everyone else is? Everybody's working.
Yeah.
Well, so
no.
you haven't been doing a lot. You're getting tan all summer.
No, I
You're very
have
tan.
Thank you. But I think it's a skin problem. I think I'm dying.
Oh, geez. I brought up a skin problem instead of enjoying the tan.
No, everybody's been saying you have such a nice tan, but I haven't really been in the sun.
This is frightening.
Yeah, so I Googled it, and I might have this disease where basically your hormones stop working, and then your organs fail, and then you die.
Yeah.
Are you on WebMD? Is that the problem?
Yeah, I was one of those sites.
Why don't you see a real WebMD, a real person, instead of you reading something and acting like you're dying? I think you got more tan than you think. You know?
No, I'm positive that I'm tan.
No, but I mean, I think that you've been outside more than you think.
Okay, yeah, maybe, but I literally like cover up and I put on 100 SPF. I shouldn't be getting this tan.
Okay, then you probably do have something from WebMD then.
Yeah, definitely.
You cut something. Now, you told us before when you were younger you refused to eat, right?
Yeah, I had an eating disorder.
Then this might be food doing this to you. You may need to skip a couple meals. I don't care what this therapist said. You were happier before, and you weren't so tan. I feel terrible that I said, "Oh my God, you've got a great tan," and it comes
I
from.
say it every time I see her.
Stop it!
I gotta stop.
That's
now.
bullying.
I didn't
That's
know.
bullying.
Yeah, I know. I keep getting bullied like 5 times a day. No, I'm kidding.
Were you ever bullied before in your life?
Yeah.
By who?
When I was younger.
By the way, Da is bullying me. You say that.
Duh, dummy.
Duh, dummy.
I'm sorry.
Who used to bully you? White kids?
Yeah.
Pale kids.
So, like, I don't know.
Garbage pail kids, I call them.
Yeah.
Good one.
They used to be my friends, and, like, somehow there was a falling out. Everyone realized they didn't like me.
Why didn't they like you anymore?
I don't know. I thought I was, like, a pretty great kid. So
Yeah.
I, like, feel bad for my younger self.
You never found out why they stopped liking you?
No, I mean, I think they like me now, but there was really just like one girl that was really mean. I mean, but I was like mean back. Like I wasn't going to let it slide.
Yeah, maybe you started it. And you
No,
just
I
forgot.
didn't.
It's your fault.
What did they used to say to you? You got a voice like a cop? Is that how they used to
Okay,
tease
no,
you?
this was like, that was in high school.
Okay.
They said every day I would walk in the hallway and all the guys would be like, "Would you smoke 12 packs a day?" It's like, how many packs today? And I was like,
But here's the thing. You went to school in Long Island, right?
mm-hmm.
So you're there with a bunch of assholes.
Yeah, no, well, those were like my friends.
Oh, that's cool.
You seem nice.
Yeah.
They were cool.
I'll tell you too, man. I mean, I went through the whole thing. High school for me, what a nightmare. I was invited to all the parties. And I'm like, I can't keep up with this.
All of them.
Every party that anyone had.
I guess that's a different type of pressure.
And people,
you
yeah,
felt.
they would be like, if you don't come to the party, it won't be fun. And I'm like, I'll be there, but I'm not having a good time.
Yeah, no, I didn't get like one party invite.
That's lucky. I wish I had the nice, quiet high school years that you did.
I was blessed. I don't really know what else to say.
Hashtag blessed. That's my motto.
That's my favorite hashtag.
What's your worst hashtag? Chris Dick?
Hashtag Chris Dick.
Get it started, guys.
Did you ever smoke in your life, though?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. One time, I was like always really against cigarettes, and when I started college, there was this guy smoking, and I was like outside with him, and I was like, "Oh, like, can I have a puff?" Like,
Because he
whatever
must
you
have
have.
really been attractive for you to ask for a puff.
Oh, well, just wait. So I get the cigarette and I go to pretend to smoke it, and then I throw it on the ground and stomp on it. And he's like, "What the F?" Like, he's
What
like,
the fuck,
"Why
F?
would you do that?"
Yeah, why would you?
I was like, "My grandpa died from cancer, from smoking," and he didn't. But like, I just said that so he'd feel
You lied.
Liar.
I lied, and he was like,
You are the bully.
Yeah.
You bullied him.
Destroyed his property.
I poured out beers. I
yeah.
went over and actually blew coke off of mirrors.
No!
My grandpa died of coke.
No, actually, like it's really just cigarettes that I hate.
I just noticed your arm is so tan too.
Oh,
It's really
my
tan.
God.
It's okay.
Just
The
cold.
shoulder. It's like
Yeah.
the tan part.
I'm like actually purple in some areas.
You really?
I feel like I am.
Because when I leave here, I'm going to go get a caramel. I'm so hungry. Have you been, maybe you do a Long Island like bronzer and you don't even know you're doing it.
No.
Check your face
I don't-
cream. You might be bronzing every day.
I'm not bronzing.
Oh,
I
yeah,
used
it's an
to bronze.
accidental bronzing. It happens all
Yeah.
the time.
So what happened between you and Smokey Puff Puff? Did you guys ever go out?
I don't think it went very far. I don't think I liked him. I just wanted to tell him that
Be with
smoking
him.
is wrong.
You just wanted to give him a hickey.
Yeah. No, what?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
You
But
admitted to it, bro.
no,
did say.
that was an accidental
Said yes.
admit. But
Try to see how many admits we get, Chris.
All right. Admits.
no, but I did try smoking once because my friend smokes, and I
Cool.
like always thought it looked really cool,
Yeah, it
and I
does.
was giving into peer pressure, and I thought it was disgusting. I did smoke a cigar once. I did
Okay.
do that. I'm really proud.
You should be proud.
I was proud.
Now do you even believe there's such a thing as peer pressure, or I would just call it good advice from friends when I was growing up? I mean, is there peer pressure?
Yes, peer pressure exists, but it's very difficult for children to see that it's not important. Like even your friends as adults do it, but you would never think like I'm being pressured. You'd just be like, "Shut up! I don't want to do
I'm
that."
trying to peer pressure Chris into doing some work, and he seems
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't
it's like
work
having
that
the exact opposite effect.
Yeah.
Do it to me.
Under like when I brought up Chris, I'm like, "Do you have any hobbies?" He goes, "Is lazy a hobby?" I go, "I don't. I know it's not. Look how few seats there are. See what I'm saying? Those things used to be just packed with people, and now it's a little dull. Conventions are dull.
There's like a lot of aisle room.
Miles of aisles."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's one thing I forgot. Ira Glass's name was supposed to come up today. He's a producer of that movie.
Oh, really?
You know, you gotta when people get an independent film made, it's very, very tough, very difficult. Got a film made years ago. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Titanic.
That was you?
It's yours?
Wow.
Yes. It was my idea to use an iceberg.
Wow.
You didn't get that from the actual history of the.
James Cameron, he goes to me, about halfway through the ocean, we have him run through steam. And I go, why? Why, James?
It burns.
Yeah.
It's so hot.
And then I came up with an idea, too, that he did. Have you seen Titanic?
I have seen Titanic.
My idea for the ending is everyone is saved by submarines. And that was turned down. And then I go, what about a frogman suit? And everyone just swims off like that and explores undersea.
I wish Leo had had a frogman suit.
Leo. The person I wanted for that movie was Punch from Chips.
Really?
I thought people haven't seen him for years.
And you wanted him in the Jack role.
No, I wanted him as the girl.
Okay.
I wanted to be the first gay Titanic movie ever done. That would end with submarines. But I don't know whether you've ever seen a thing called Powder, right? That show?
Yeah.
Looking to reimagine this. I'm going to use Brooke. It's called Bronzer.
Oh.
And it's about a young girl. No one likes her. But she's so bronze. And no one knows why.
Yeah. Sounds familiar.
Do you feel like you could act in a major motion picture?
I've always like dreamed of it.
Really?
I think I could do it.
I'm looking to produce a minor motion picture, seen by almost no one.
Shouldn't be hard.
No.
I mean,
No.
then you've set the bar low.
I might even just shoot it on my iPhone. It's a minor motion picture. You dream. Who's your favorite actor of all time? Because I know your favorite band is 1D.
Well, no.
Not
Not
anymore?
my favorite band. Harry Styles is
Yeah.
my favorite person.
Sure.
Your favorite.
Human.
Human being, not a human doing. I hope that helps you the next time you want to have something to eat. You know? Remember that next time you
I'll
try to skip a
remember.
meal. Yeah.
Who's my favorite actor?
Yeah. Or reactor.
Nuclear?
You can have a moment to think about it.
Yeah.
Now, Gail, the other day, Chris goes, we need to pre-produce something. I go, how can we pre-produce it? You know what I mean? He goes, for the pre-record. I go, how can we pre-record anything? We can record it, but right now we're pre-recording it, just talking about it. Well, we had to laugh. All right. Now, Brooks, back to you. I gave you enough time there. I gave you enough time, Bronzy. I want you to come across. Look how she's showing off those bronze
Okay,
shoulders.
it's just freezing in this room. So
But why take your sweater off when it's freezing?
I'm trying to cover my hands, and it's not long enough.
You know what? While you're coming up with your favorite actor, I'm going to turn off the...
I get it.
Let me do it.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
The producer should have done that.
I think my favorite actor is Ryan Gosling because he's just hot, and he is a good actor too. So, double whammy.
Yeah, it's a double whammy, or all you care about is looks. Either
That
way you want to
too.
go.
I saw him when he was here, and he looked at me, and I was like, "Okay, we're getting married."
Now, here's the thing, because I talked to, do you know Spencer?
Yeah.
In booking? And Spencer said, he comes over to me and he goes, I talked to Ryan Gosling, and he said there was a bronze girl that was, he goes, was that supposed to make fun of me because I never won an Oscar? And I go, no. She wasn't being a bronze statue. But I know that, I remember you telling us that you had a big crush on that dude from
Yeah.
The Drive. The Drive dude, I like to
Yeah.
call him.
Is that your
Oh.
favorite role that he's done? Drive.
I don't know. That was a good one. I also liked Heath Ledger,
Oh, not anymore,
the
right?
Joker.
Heath Ledger, the Joker. The Midnight Smoker.
No, that was that role was.
Oh, okay. I thought
As
you
the
just thought he was a funny guy who went around doing stuff. You know?
No.
That's a Vito. Isn't that also your favorite actor, the Joker?
Oh, well, I thought you guys were going to say the Goss, because you know I love Ryan Gosling.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know whether everybody else knows this. I'm going to be watching Batman and Superman this week because it's finally come to on demand. So
You're in
I
for a
will
treat.
catch up with you guys. From what was that, last summer? When did it come out?
May.
Already on demand, right? Are you sure?
It came out in May, and I saw the ad for the on demand where it said the movie everybody's been waiting to see.
Yeah. Even though it was playing across the street from my house.
We did have the chance.
Yeah. I could have made a left instead of a right and seen this movie. And I'm going to watch it as soon as I'm done with Strange Days. And then that show that Richard Prince. Now I can't remember if it's Price or Prince. You know what? I'm going to hang myself to my belt. How's that?
No,
No. I make a mistake like that.
No.
I can't come back from it. Well, Brooke, it was fun seeing you around here, and I'm so sorry that things haven't progressed for you. You on your deathbed,
Yeah.
if something happens, right, and it is as bad as you think, you said what happens when you turn bronze? It leads to what?
Organ failure?
Organ failure, and then finally
No,
death.
the organ failure is causing my.
Okay.
Oh.
Because I Googled, like, what happens? Why am I just getting dark?
I'm sure it's because you have a backyard that you're not paying attention. That you
No.
go there.
I've been hiding.
If you need an organ, Chris is just chock full of them.
I have plenty.
Yeah, you can have
What do
whatever
Yeah.
you want.
What do
You
That's
need
great.
kidney.
Do you need it functioning or no?
buffet.
Preferably functioning, but
Oh, that's a problem.
You know what? Think of it as a holdover organ until you get another one.
This one's a freebie.
Yeah. You'd be actually better off putting a grapefruit where your kidney used to be than put one of these goddamn vodka-soaked organs in your body.
all right, I'll keep it in mind.
Do we ever find out who Brooke would be perfect to be with? We discussed it before.
No, I think we're still looking.
No, but a person
Real
here
life.
that we could get. You know, you're not going
IRL.
to get Harry. All right.
I
Time to
think
take the posters down, honey.
Mike and
Burn
Harry.
them.
Huh?
Burn
No.
the posters.
You don't have to burn them.
No, she can save them in her hope chest.
Yeah.
Vito's got a hope chest. It's just filled with wrestling figurines.
One day I hope to share these with my wife.
I came in, yes. This is who you want to win.
Who you want to win.
Now, Vito, I said to him, did you watch the convention last night? He goes, did for a while. Then I put on Raw. God. Can't miss Raw 1 week?
Dude, big things happened last night.
What happened? The Rock jumped on somebody?
No, Mick Foley's the new GM of Raw.
Okay.
And Daniel Bryan's the GM of SmackDown, which is live tonight for the first time.
Well, you'll have to catch that then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's your life now. All right, we got to wrap this one up, Chris Stanley. But, Brooke, it was nice having you here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I don't even have a good comeback for that.
No.
I need like a book of comebacks.
A book of comebacks.
That's like
I got no idea. I got my first one, fuck you, fuckstick. That's what I say to people.
Just use that for now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah? Well, fuck you, fuckstick. How's that sound? Yeah.
That's
I didn't think you were going to come back.
You came back a little hard. Oh, I see. I should have led up to that. My other one that I like to use is Squeeze Me, baking powder. Peter, what's your big comeback? No, you're the one with sauce on your face. He has a lot of sauce on his face.
I usually just yell, shut the fuck up.
All right, that's not bad. Chris, what's yours?
Blow me.
God.
I get crude.
The ladies are here today.
I'm sorry, ladies.
Gail, you got anything you want to plug before we go?
Plug?
Yeah, plug.
Sure. Well, you
something
can come
coming up?
hang out with me in Montreal.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be there.
You can go to the iBang for a chance to win tickets to the Unmasked. We're going to be in Montreal July 28th and 9th. I got it.
That's it for us then. We'll see you all again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!